Starting.
Soon.
Hello, hello, human babies and alien people and everyone in between. I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs. I planned on doing a video today, and I got to the office. I just wasn't feeling it. So I figured, since a lot of you have been asking me several questions, um, and also since my videos are not 45 minutes long anymore, that I take a little bit of time with two of my buddies to answer some of the questions that you guys have and to talk about the absolute hysteria that has happened, this last week. And we're all pretty much sick of Bendgate, so I'm not going to really focus on that. But a couple of other things in the Apple sphere. I am joined by two excellent human beings. We have Michael Panetta, MTP Flyers.
Oh, me, yeah. Hi. I'm just kidding. Hey, how's it going?
Mike's been doing videos for as long as I can remember. We've been doing this for a long time, man.
Yeah, since 2009.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
It's been a long
Except for
time.
me, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I started doing it at the last week of December of 2008, and started posting them on January 2009 is when I started.
Oof. 8. That's even before I started. I started in December of 2009 or 2008. I don't remember which year it was.
I think you might have been on before me.
Long time.
Yeah.
Regardless, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Longer than either of us wants to remember. So.
No.
And we're joined by Tomas Villegas, who's been
Bam.
doing this for a little bit less than 7 years. How's it going, man?
It's going good, and I was totally in confidence that you were going to say my name correctly. Outstanding.
Yeah, that's my goal. We actually are almost neighbors. We live really close to each other. We just don't. We've never seen each other before. But Tomas lives, a stone throw away, man. Come on.
Yeah, within a drive's distance, man. I'm just an old guy.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Yeah.
While you guys were making videos, I was deployed. So I mean, the internet wasn't really a concern of mine, you know.
Yeah, I guess not.
Other priorities, right? Probably more
And
valid.
then when I came back and I was into this stuff, you were gonna go take your break and do your thing, and we just kind of missed each other that way. Plus, you're like 9 years younger than me.
A little, yeah. Right on.
So,
Hey, I have a question for you guys, technically. Does this thing automatically switch when we talk?
It should. Yeah.
Like, we don't have to control that, right? That's just YouTube does it on itself?
Right. No, that it looks like it's doing it on its own. I'm watching the live feed on mute,
Oh, okay, good.
like as we're going. If you ever get to the point where you want to freeze the live feed on someone, like if one of us is showing a device or whatever,
Yeah.
and you want to just lock it on them, you would click on their picture in your feed, and it would lock it into that person. And on your feed for YouTube, it will lock it in there, and it'll be a white box around it. And then
Uh-huh.
when you're done, you click on that box again, and the white line will go away, and then it'll go back to whoever's speaking the audio or the video will go to.
Oh, okay, good. I think I fixed it because you were white boxed, and so
Oh, they were looking at me the whole time.
yeah. Well,
Sorry, everybody.
oh well. Anyway, we're back. I've never used this Google Hangouts thing before. Before I left, the live functionality was just barely rolling out on YouTube, and it was horrendous. And so we all just used Vocal, and Mike was mentioning Blog TV and Ustream. It's been a while since I've used
Yeah,
that.
I mean, and I hate to go back on everybody. It's just that's how we all met.
Yeah.
No, I really loved and missed that whole thing. It turned into such a, I wouldn't say it turned into such a business, but guys that came in, Quinn, while you were away or shortly before you left, just had a plan, and just tore it up, and it was just like, okay, this is how it is, this is how it's going to be, and this is what we're going to do, and they just pushed forward, and they had the talent, they had the drive, they had the creativity and everything, and they just, you know.
Yeah.
for sure. And then me stepping into this very new, I haven't met any walls or anything. This community is super welcoming. As long as you're, upstand type of guy or gal, and you have integrity and you're honest, and you don't spam people with your content, and you just let it ride and don't come into the space with a plan. I think that's the change in dynamics now. You kind of just got to come into it with really no expectations and just let it ride.
Yeah, well, and I think that's what kind of made the community as fun as it is I mean, like Mike was saying back when we started, no one watched this crap. No one cared about technology on YouTube. I remember, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when Mike and I were two of the most subscribed tech reviewers that there were. And then, I mean, and we had hardly anything, 30,000 subscribers maybe, 25.
Yeah.
And that was a lot. And I remember that's kind of how it was up until I left. I mean, when I left, Jonathan of TLD had started gaining some serious traction. Marques Brownlee still hadn't really picked up. I mean, he had about the same amount of subscribers as I did, but nothing, huge. And then I was unplugged for 2 years, and when I came back, I was like, hey, let's see what happened on with the community. I'm like, holy crap, this is a thing now. People actually watch tech videos, and Marques had 1.5 million subscribers, and I was all disoriented, like, whoa, what's going on?
Yeah, it was definitely a big change since you left, and that was great when you came back because you handled it. I mean, you handled it great. I mean, there could have been you just could have been like, time out, I'm done, but you took it. You took it to another level, I think. I think you embraced it all. And I think that's what people, to this day, they still want to continue to hear your experiences without, having the technology and then coming back and seeing it blow up in front of you and go, whoa, what changed? And you rolled right into it, and I think that's what helped you drive you along and get your passion.
Sure, and then your approach to it. I mean, you're like, whoa, and then people like that reaction. In addition to you not really even like jumping on stuff, you just came right back into it and just made content to enjoy it, because you enjoy whatever it is that you've made, and just keep moving forward.
It was great.
I thought it was unique.
So did I. I thoroughly enjoyed
guys, I appreciate it. I'm glad someone still likes my stuff. I'm just kidding.
Everybody does.
No, that's why I continue to do videos, and people ask me, they're like, how do you feel that MKBHD has 1.5 million subscribers? I'm like, you know what? He's my buddy. I've known him for years. I couldn't be happier for him, and it doesn't make me mad or angry because, first of all, that's not what it's about. I don't make videos. We don't make videos to be number one or to be the most viewed. If it happens, hey, it happens. And it's the same with them. You don't see Marques Brownlee and Jonathan Morrison walking around saying, hey, we're number one, we're the most upset. No, they're totally humble, really great guys. And that's what I think really creates an awesome community. And that's one of the reasons that I jumped back into it when I got back, because first of all, it's something that I love. I've always liked doing it. And secondly, because it's not a competition, and it never has been, and it never will be, and I hope it never becomes one, because that's what makes the community so great. And as long as I'm making videos that I like, and as long as there's at least one person watching what I make and liking what I'm putting out, then that's good enough for me, and I couldn't be happier. So
Definitely.
Anywho, yeah, guys. So we don't really, for those that are watching, we don't really have a planned agenda. I just hit Mike up on Twitter 10 minutes ago and said, hey man, do you want to go live? and then Tomas said, I want in, and so we all hopped on, and there's no agenda, there's no planned schedule. I was actually going to make a video today. All of you requested, not all of you, but most of you requested the iPhone 6 Plus review, and I just wasn't feeling it, because first of all, I've had a defective phone for a week, so I can't really say what I think totally. Luckily, it was hardware-based. My Touch ID was not working, guys. Not at all.
Just from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, from the minute I pulled it out of the box, and granted, I had never been an iPhone 5S owner, so I didn't know how it was supposed to be. Like, I had one for a week with T-Mobile, and my mom had gotten an iPhone 6 on the same day, and hers worked well, and I thought, well, maybe that's just kind of the way it is. It doesn't work that great. And I started asking around, and people are like, no, it should be awesome. It should work all the time pretty much, from the get-go. Right. So I started looking into it. I did a software restore. I did everything I could think of, and nothing. I mean, it would get my fingerprint maybe be, I don't know, 1 out of 2 times, And then the off times that it didn't, it would say, try again, try again, try again. I'd clean off the sensor, reposition my thumb, try again, try again. It was really annoying. I reprogrammed all the prints. I did the same thumb under different like fingerprint identities, so there's a higher, chance that that finger gets recognized. I did everything, and I couldn't figure it out. So I called AppleCare, and I got to a level 2 AppleCare representative, which is like getting to the Pentagon. I mean, you have to have a pretty big problem to get up there. And I said, look, man, I do technology reviews. I know how this stuff works, and it's not working. I said, I've tried a software restore. And he's like, well, what kind of restore did you do? I'm like, I tried a regular restore. I put it into DFU mode and downloaded the IPSW file. He's like, well, you really did do everything. And I was like, yeah, it's my defective phone. And he's like, all right, well, no worries. And he sent out a new one, and I got it today. And Touch ID works great. So that's good. Yeah.
Well, I know one of the things was people going back into the store and getting things swapped out. Some people are having better experiences than others as far as them having units there to swap out because they're so new, for obvious reasons. But I know that they should have at least some stock in for that specific reason when it comes to that. But I always thought they did. But who knows how things change or how things roll so close to an announcement or release.
Yeah.
I know the Touch ID on the 6 is much improved because my wife's fingers are kind of greasy. She has a rough time doing fingerprint things, and it's really receptive and it almost unlocks instantly. So I think they made some major improvements in that aspect. I kind of I've played with it, but my fingerprints have always been really readable even on the 5S, so I didn't really notice a difference, but she says she has.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I had that 5S for, I don't know, a week, the T-Mobile test drive, which, by the way,
it was clunky.
Just totally allowed me to see that I didn't want T-Mobile. And Touch ID was good. It'd take a couple of seconds, or it'd have to have a clean sensor. And with this new phone and with the iPhone 6 that my mom's been using, it's instantaneous, man. You touch the button and it unlocks. Yep. And it's awesome. Yeah,
for sure. What is it that you don't like about T-Mobile in this area? I get outstanding service. I don't. And then for the return on your investment of paying for their service, I think
that's
it's
true.
Unbeatable.
They definitely have the best pricing. And here, Tomas and I live in Salt Lake City, Utah, or the near areas. It's kind of like a big, gigantic valley, and all the cities are jammed together. But it's a big city. There's 1 million people that live here, 1.5 million, I don't remember. Anyway, a lot of people. And when you're inside the city, where in my neighborhood, T-Mobile was great. I would get LTE that was not as fast as AT&T, but darn close. I mean, it was probably 15 down and 6 up, whereas AT&T was 18 and 9, 18 and 8, and so really fast. The problem is that once you leave this city, man, it gets rural, and it gets rural fast. Like there's nothing. And the next major city, and by major I mean like 200,000 people, 300,000 people when you're going south of St. George, which is 4.5 hours away, 4 hours away. And on that road, it's been like for years, AT&T has been trying to make sure that good service was there. We were on Verizon, and Verizon for years has had a perfect connection all the way down. And AT&T got really spotty. You'd run into no service and stuff like that. And now you get LTE pretty much the whole way. There's about 50 miles where you get HSPA plus 4G, but it's still excellent. And I was going to Tooele, which Tomas knows is pretty close to Salt Lake. I dropped down to GPRS, man, not even Edge, like voice only. That was it. And that for me was just unexpected.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. I know that they don't have too many low frequencies, so it's difficult to get signal inside of buildings as well. Funny thing is that as soon as I graduated and left Logan, they bumped up to LTE up there. They ran some new antenna up there, and I drove up there once to do my graduate presentation for my project, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. I've spent freaking almost 4 years up here, finishing 2 degrees, and now you guys barely implement this. I mean, that frustrated me to no end. You got me curious, so I ran a speed test, and I'm getting 7.5 download and about 17 upload. And I'm not like even close to Salt Lake. I'm like right at the mouth of the Morgan Canyon. So
Yeah,
Oh, that's
T-Mobile's never been good in my area over here on the East Coast. I don't
Yeah,
know why.
I'm just fortunate, and one thing that I wanted to stay with them is that I got out of the Marine Corps and I got my phone when I was in Virginia, and I was just like, I'm just gonna stay with you guys. I need to keep my same phone number just in case anybody wants to reach out to me.
You know, I like them as a company a lot, and I think they're going in the right direction. The problem is just, I mean, for us, it wouldn't work. If I lived in, New York and I never left the city, then it'd be great. But we're a huge recreational family, so we'll go biking and we go boating
Yeah.
and
That
we
won't
go
do it.
boating, and I'm out on the lake and nothing, zero, dead, no service, nada. Whereas with AT&T, AT&T's gotten really good the last couple of years here in Utah. I mean, usually we'd be out on Lake Power or Lake Yuba and there no dice. And now you can get service in a lot of places. And so that's kind of, we hate them. They're terrible, and they charge us a butt ton of money. And it's gotten worse with this stupid AT&T Next plan, which in the end is probably a better value, but I just don't like the idea of paying, $30 a month to essentially rent a phone. And when you upgrade,
And
you
then
have
you
to
lose it.
yeah,
to
you
some
turn it in,
cost.
and you've already paid
Yeah.
$300. Why not, pay an extra 200 to get it on the full contract price or whatever, and then in a year turn it on eBay to someone in Russia or wherever they don't get iPhones, and they pay a ton for them. So
So let me
I
get
refuse
straight.
to do those
You
type
got
of
to turn the phone in?
Yeah.
yeah,
I didn't know that.
So you're just paying to borrow the phone, and then you turn it in and you start your payments over again on a new phone, which is a little ridiculous. I refuse to do that. I buy my phones outright from, like Apple or Google, or I'll pay for it up front. And that's one thing that I like about T-Mobile is they allow you to do that. And just here you go. Leave me alone. I don't wanna owe you anything. If I want to cancel, I can cancel. And usually when I call and threaten that, because I've been a customer with them for about 7 years, they get really scared. So, and then they give me a discount or something for 6 months, and I'm all for it.
that's good. Yeah, no, that's what we do with Dish Network, and a lot of those companies you can just say, I'm going to your competitor, better price, and they're like, okay, I'm sorry, we'll give you 6 months free or whatever, and it works out all right in the end.
That's funny.
Anywho, I'm super pissed at Rdio. What a disaster.
Uh-oh.
Well, so, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but iOS doesn't seem to be the most optimized version of iOS thus far. It's been pretty buggy, and I think that the apps are less functional on iOS 8 than they've ever been in any operating system prior to now. I mean, there were even problems. There were huge problems. I don't know if you remember not just when the iPad came out, but when iOS 4 came out and they went to the Retina display. But these look terrible. The YouTube app is absolutely disgusting.
Right.
The search icon is below the status bar. It's just a wreck. And then when you're in a non-iOS optimized app, you get that clunky old nasty iPhone keyboard that's scaled up and is all pixely. It looks really bad, especially on the Plus. It's bad. And so with Rdio, I had a lot of problems with Wi-Fi connectivity. Not just on my campus, which uses an enterprise Wi-Fi thing where you need to download a certificate, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But even in my home, I mean, I'll drop the Wi-Fi signal in places that never happened on iOS 7, and it happens on. I know it's not my phone because it happens on my iPad too, which a week ago was perfect on iOS 7. And so it does some weird stuff. And I don't know if it's Rdio that didn't optimize my app or the phone tricked Rdio into thinking it was on Wi-Fi, but I was sitting in class and it started to automatically sync the songs that I had requested to be downloaded on the phone. And it was like 5 gigs of music. And it downloaded while I was in class and I was taking a test, and I came out and I had 2 text messages from AT&T. No, 3. It said, you have surpassed your monthly limit on the family share plan. An additional 1 gigabyte has added for a $15 surcharge that will be applied on your next bill. And I was like, well, that's weird. We usually don't pass it this early. Sometimes we get, in trouble the last day, and that's what it sucks. But it's only the 25th. And then another message came in, and then another one. I'm like, okay, what's going on? That was $45, 3 gigs over. And I open up the usage on my phone, and it's like data usage since last billing cycle, which is today because I just set up the phone right now. in the morning when I got it because it's the replacement, and it says like 4.6 gigabytes. I'm like, what the heck? And I open up the usage to see what app's doing it, and it's Rdio. And I open up Rdio, and Rdio is still downloading music in 320 kilobit MP3, like 1,000 songs, over my cellular connection. And I was so pissed because there's a setting in there that says only sync over Wi-Fi.
Right.
And I looked into the settings and said I didn't disable that, and I looked in there. It was enabled. So I don't know why it started downloading. If the phone said, hey, you're on Wi-Fi, don't worry about it, or if the app started downloading by itself, I don't know. But it was a disaster, and I'm super mad. And I complained to Rdio, and they still haven't responded. They're helping everyone else. They're like, oh, I'm sorry you had the problem. Here's 1 month of free service. And then I complained, and they're just like, oh, we're going to avoid him.
That's crazy.
What about my data plan on AT&T, you jerks?
Yeah, that's $45. I mean, that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. I mean,
traditionally, you never really paid for iOS updates, but I wouldn't be opposed to. I'd like for example, Mac OS 10. It's these free updates. I think I posted this on Twitter yesterday, and Larry said he agreed. I think he's in the room. I wouldn't be opposed to paying if the quality assurance went up, so I get a stable system before it's pushed out to me.
The quality assurance used to be there. It never used to be this buggy. I mean,
yep. They don't have like fragmentation or anything to deal with.
No,
so you got your system. So what's the is it because this is the first time they've actually seen fragmentation because of the differences between this Plus and the 6?
Perhaps.
Maybe, I don't know.
I don't think so though, because it happened with the 4 and it happened with the iPad. And the third-party updates always take a while, and they took forever with the iPad. Remember those 2 scaled images? Those were awful. They were so bad. And it took probably a month and a half, 2 months to get really good iPad apps.
There's still some that don't have iPad apps.
Yeah, they're iPhone only. I don't know why you do that. It's stupid. Well, I say that as my app is iPhone only. We're working on that, by the way. But yeah, I don't. The problem is it's not just third-party apps that are buggy. The whole operating system, I've had a lot of trouble with it. Wi-Fi problems. I've had Bluetooth problems. Obviously, the cellular on the 8.0.1 update didn't work. By the way, I just finished my update to 8.02 right now.
No, I haven't tried that yet. I'm afraid to.
Yeah, I just did it, and looks to be fine. But I've had weird like scaling problems. Like you go into an app and it's all like. This happens in Safari all the time. I'll go into Safari, I click a YouTube video. I hate the YouTube app, so I don't use it. I use Safari. And while it's in Safari, like the whole web page will get like shifted upwards, like halfway off the screen. Mm-hmm. It's really weird. And that's a native app. Mail, I haven't used Mail, but I've heard it's really buggy. The Messages app, if you pull up the keyboard in landscape and then try to turn it vertically, doesn't do it. You have to close the app, force quit, and go back into it. It's a huge annoyance.
You know what else I'm having issues with? I guess you want to call it the I guess the gyroscope. When you turn the phone on its side, like you said, things don't quite go. They don't go in the landscape when you want them to. I was recording hyperlapse today, and I was painting the door for a video for a product that I got in, and I took the phone and I put it in the block. I recorded, and it was 15 minutes. I go back and I go to play it, and it's in portrait. And I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I literally took the phone and turned it sideways and put it in, and it never enabled going into landscape. And I've had that happen more than on one occasion where I take a picture and I go to look at it, and it never turned to landscape to take the wider picture. It did it in portrait. And I'm like, what the heck? I didn't do that.
Yeah, that's weird.
Is it? I mean, I didn't use the iPhone 5S. It was something that I just reviewed, and my wife, she's invested in that element or that system. Is it the camera when you're filming? If you turn the 5S on its side, would it adjust, or would it not, or would it keep recording in portrait mode?
I think you have to stop it.
I think that was the case, but I just couldn't remember.
I haven't used an iPhone in 2 years. No, I'm pretty sure you had to stop it. The last time I remember, you had to stop it and then restart recording.
Yeah, I believe you do. Once you actually start doing it,
it's froze.
If you turn it in the landscape, it don't work.
Because I know it does that on the 6. You pointed that out, Mike.
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. It wasn't even dancing for me to move into landscape. I would literally take the phone and turn it into the side and take a picture, and then I go to look at it and it's sideways. I'm like, what? And I go pick it up and it goes sideways. I'm like, that's not how I took the picture, and I have to take it again.
Yep.
So, and again, I don't know if that's user error or just a bug in the software, but I definitely have some crashing more than not.
And with the rear-facing camera, when you're holding it, I did this in my video, and a lot of people said that the audio sounds funny. Is it because the mic is not facing correctly? Because if I hold my Nexus up and I'm filming like so,
That happened to me too, by the way.
it captures my voice just fine when I'm standing behind the camera. But when I'm filming with the iPhone, I took the case off. I tested it in a louder and a quieter environment, and it was the same. It sounded really muffled.
Do you know the problem that might be happening? That happened to me while I was on the call with the Apple Care guy, and it took me a while to realize it. He was like, "Are you on speakerphone or what's going on?" And I was like, "No, I'm just talking through the iPhone. It's your crappy piece of technology that I'm using." But I realized, and I feel like it's in a really weird spot because myself natively, when I hold the phone, I hold it with my index finger along the side of the device when I'm talking. And I actually, believe it or not, I like talking on the phone. I use it as a phone. Go figure. And so I do a lot of talking, and they're getting less and less comfortable to hold up to your ear every year. This one, by the way, it's killing me. The iPhone 6 Plus, there's like a big enough of a
That
gap
thing is so
that
big,
like
man.
hair gets stuck in there, man.
Yeah.
When it's on like my beard, I don't even have a beard, but like when it gets on my little 5 a.m. here, it pulls my freaking facial hair out, man. It hurts.
That
But
thing is so big. I picked it up at the Apple Store, and I was like, nope.
yeah, no,
I actually liked
it's
it.
really large. It's too big. I had the OnePlus One and I loved it, and I've been using big phones since I had the original Galaxy Note, and that was the original monster. But this thing is just over the top. It's because it's long. That's the problem. And I held the Moto X, and the Moto X, what's the screen size on that? 5.2?
5.2.
Yeah, I think that was perfect. I held that up. I'm like, oh, this is great.
4.9 to 5.3 is probably a perfect range for me.
Yeah.
Just for my thumb and my dexterity.
Yeah, because before I was saying, the 5 or 4.7 is perfect, and now that I hold the iPhone 6, I like it, but it's still a little bit too small. But the 5.5 is just way too big. And maybe if Apple wasn't so like super anal about making sure that the top and the bottom were absolutely proportional, because the other phones, you have a tiny little bottom and then you have enough room on the top for the earpiece, and they're 5.5-inch phones that feel way smaller than this phone.
What
That would mess with their marketing.
What's so wrong about making the home button smaller? I don't know.
I don't even think you need it. I don't even want
Capacitive.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I was a naysayer to capacitive, and everyone who hasn't used capacitive is like, no, that sucks. Why would you want to get rid of the button? But the minute that you switch to it, it's hard to go back to a real button. I don't like it.
I went from the Samsung S3 to the Nexus, and I absolutely love the on-screen capacitive buttons.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with those. They're usually very unobtrusive when you're using them. I have this Huawei phone, which is the Ascend Mate 2.
Is that a TV?
What's that?
Is that a TV?
Yeah.
Mount that thing?
You know what? Don't laugh. This is a 6.1-inch screen,
Holy crap.
and it's probably about the same size overall as the 6 Plus. Maybe a little bit taller than the 6 Plus, but you got a 6.1-inch screen.
Yeah.
You're talking more than a half-inch in screen real estate on this, and it's just a tad taller than the 6 Plus.
That's a
And
problem, man. I'm telling you. Even the side, there's quite a bit of space there on the side.
That's a big bezel.
Whereas on the OnePlus One, man, it's almost to the edge. There's not a lot. Granted, you can't drop it or it's going to break. That's what happened to me twice. But I doubt you can drop this one either. Well, that's not true. I've seen some drop tests, and as unreliable as they are, totally depends where the phone lands. If it lands face down, it doesn't matter if it's from 6 inches. You're screwed. But as long as you drop it on a corner, you can go in like 8 feet high, and it will be fine.
I think that's with any phone, though, except for if you have a Nokia 99001 or something. One of those brick phones that you could huck and still call.
Those were great. I can't even tell you how many times I threw my Motorola Razr up in the air at junior high school. Great times. You only had to charge it once a week. Those were that was the time, man.
Those phones. Yeah, you were
I
like,
had my Motorola Razr my whole time through Iraq, and it made it.
I thought that was the greatest phone, man. I love that phone.
I had the V3C. It was like one of the first that were available. It was available on Verizon, and I remember it was an expensive phone because I got it for my birthday the summer before 8th grade. I'm still young, and man, that thing was nuts. I mean, I remember. I think it was $299 on contract. It was really expensive, but man, it was indestructible. You couldn't break those things if you tried.
That's funny.
Yeah. Anyway.
I know a lot of people in the room are asking questions about the iPhone and talking about the bending and all that stuff and the quality of the iPhone and some people threw out there today, or I don't even know if it was a statement that Apple made about the phone being reinforced with, I guess, titanium enforcements on the inside. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, whatever it is, someone was able to bend it, so I don't know how. I don't know how much official pressure you put on that to do that, but
I don't. Again, maybe I'm old-fashioned, but who puts their phone in their back pocket and sits down?
I do, but I'm not.
But you're aware that it's there, and you won't put your full weight on it.
Yeah.
Going and jumping down on it. Oh, why did it crack? It's I'm very cognizant if I have a phone or whatever, but
I think most people are. Most consumers, they think and do research and think some more about what best suits them. Go to a store, look at it, think about it some more, then finally make the purchase. Most people do that, and with any technology, you take care of it.
Let's put it this way: people we all know aren't careful with their things, and they like to think what they did wasn't their fault. We all know that. Everyone has their own idea of how something happened. And, the one guy that came out and said he had the phone in his pocket for 18 hours and didn't take it out. I'm like, really, dude? You didn't? Let me get this straight. You had your phone in your pocket for 18 hours. 18 hours and you didn't take it out of your pocket. Not once to know. Okay. You got to take that with a grain of salt, You're just like, what were you really doing with the phone? Somebody's like, oh, my phone exploded in my hand, and you never hear hide nor hair from anyone else again, and every once in a while you find out these phones that occur, they find out that they had like third-party batteries that they had put in the phones, or they failed to mention they tried to charge it with a microwave, and then they stuck it in their pocket and walked away, and then the acid was melting out of the phone because
not as reliable. They expand,
Yeah,
mess up your device.
There's just a grain of salt you have to take with everyone's quote unquote reasons of putting a picture up. Oh, my phone bent too in my pocket when I was doing it. You fail to mention the fact that you were leaning against a fence, for 20 minutes or something like that. And then of course, you always have to take the fact that grain of salt that Apple says, oh no, we only had 9 complaints. 9.
Yeah. See, that's where I have a problem with this whole thing. I mean, and my opinions on Bendgate have changed so much in the last couple of days, and I think I've formulated like my opinion. First of all, I'm going to say that I don't want to say it's a problem, because saying it's a problem makes it sound like a big deal. It's an issue. It is something that some people will run into, and I don't think that you should be deterred from buying the iPhone 6 Plus simply because you're going to bend it, because that's an extreme case. We can get into the technicalities of it, like Lou was bending it from a certain point with a lot of pressure in a constant amount of time, but I'm, rather than doing the whole analyzing of, well, in what shape and fashion did he bend it?
Yeah.
Was his left hand putting more strength into it than the right hand? I believe that the phone can be bent. It does not bend, as far as I'm concerned, under normal circumstances. And if it does, first of all, I mean, there was an article that came out late today that was on, I think, Engadget, or it was on The Verge, and Apple's been quite open about this whole issue. Usually they just don't say anything and they're like, well, screw you guys. And it rolls over, in a couple of weeks. But they've been releasing quite a few stuff saying, well, look, we put our stuff through really serious testing.
Yeah, that was neat seeing that.
Yeah. And, so I don't believe that Apple has just released the phone. They're like, well, let's see what happens. I don't think that they didn't know that this had the possibility of happening.
Right.
But at the same time, I don't think that it's that big of a problem either, because the number of people that it's going to happen to is quite small. It does bug me that they've only said 9, because I can guarantee you it's more than 9 people have complained about it. Whether it be actually bent, I'm sure there's people that are saying, oh, my phone's bent, and it's not really, or they've intentionally tried to bend it with intentions of taking it back and getting it in black rather than white, But actual real issues of it being bent, I imagine it to be greater than 9, and it bothers me that that's all they said. They should have just said it's a very, 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 very minuscule percentage of iPhones, and for those people who have problems, come to the Genius Bar and we'll replace it. That's what I'm glad they said, is they said, if you have a problem with it, bring it here and we'll fix it. And that's why I don't think it's a problem. Because you can buy the phone. If it gets bent, well, take it back, and you get a new one, and you're good to go. And who cares, right?
That goes for everything, though. Like everything you buy from Apple is their customer service.
Yeah. They've always been great.
Yeah, but like what Quinn's saying, it's just that.
Yep.
You lay out it, and it sounds good, and then you just keep going. Come on, 9. Where'd you come up with that number? It's just. 9. Here we go. Let's put that in the press report.
Well, that's the other thing that made me laugh is they said less than 40,000 users experienced troubles with the 8.0.1 thing. How do they know that?
Yeah.
How do they know that I didn't have service? When I had that, I wasn't even connected to Wi-Fi. So how do they know? They don't know, because my phone never sent out a distress signal saying, hey, I don't have a signal. I saw that it didn't work. I threw it into restore mode. That was the end of story. So as far as I'm concerned, Apple had no idea that my phone wasn't connecting to a cellular network. And so I don't know how they can just say, well, it was 40,000, more or less.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, is a huge amount of people. But
it is. But, 10 million phones.
That's true. Yeah.
40,000. But, I don't know where they get that number, like you said. Where do they pull that from?
Yeah. Google Analytics.
Yeah. How many people haven't even turned them on yet?
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I know they can get diagnostic information really easy, but you theoretically have to approve it. When you go through an Apple Care support representative on the phone and you say, I have a problem, they'll make you they send you a text message, you click a link, and it goes into this really bizarre menu that you've never seen before. Then you can run a short or an extended test. And it says, if you run an extended test, then information about your device will be sent to Apple and whatever. And so they can get information about your device, but I would think that rather than just pulling it and saying 40,000, they would have had to ask for permission to see. I don't know. Anyway, that aside, I think that Bendgate is.
I love that Bendgate.
I think that Bendgate is a problem. I don't think that it's non-existent, but I don't think that it's everything. I think it's way blown out of proportion. I think the number of people that it's actually going to affect is very little. And if it does affect you, then who cares? Go to the Apple Store, get a new one. You're good. You can sleep nice and tight at night. And I think that's really, the end of it. And then when the iPhone 7 comes out or the iPhone 6S or whatever they decide to do, they can do some revisions. And they can add, I honestly don't know what they're going to do, because if you look at it, they wanted light and they wanted, thin. And no matter what material you use, they could have used steel that they had on the iPhone 4, but that would make it 3 times heavier. Mm-hmm. They could have layered the inside filled with, different kinds of structuring and framing, but that adds weight too. You could have, done this or that, or the list goes on and on. But the fact of the matter is if you want a device that's thin and you want a device that is a great material, and that's what you're going to get. Right. And I think part of the thing too that people were mentioning, people were like, well, I didn't ask for a thinner device. I would have rather preferred to have a slightly thicker, no protruding camera, and then Bendgate would not have existed. I'm telling you right now, as an iPhone 6 Plus owner, I do not want this phone any thicker at all. It's too heavy, it's too big, and if it was even a millimeter thicker, I would have been like, no, I'm not using this thing, because it is too big for me as it is, and that may be part of the compromise. I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, I'm getting sick of talking about it. Do you guys have anything to say?
No, I've been over it for a couple days.
I think we can move on from the whole thing. I just don't want to see other videos on other phones being.
No, please.
I'm done with it. I think Lou locked that down.
Yeah.
and it was
That's his
brilliant.
technology, patent pending.
Yeah, exactly. I think Lou's the only one that's allowed to do it with because the real scale I refer to it as is the Lou scale. Kind of like just Bose hardness scale. I called it the Lou scale. Lou's the only one that's allowed to do it. You know?
And I would even ask Lou formally that be the end of it. I'm sick of that bending stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Luke can
Let's
do
get about
it
it
with
last
the bare phone, and Jonathan from TLD can do it with a case with Austin
with
squatting
extreme sitting.
on it.
Extreme sitting.
That was just hilarious.
That was funny.
So,
That was
yeah,
intense.
I think we're done. I mean, I would like someone in the room asked earlier about the Google Nexus 6, which I know Tomas is drooling over that, and I have to admit, I think I'm drooling over a little bit too. So, somebody did mention that, and we could talk about that if you want. If there's anything else, you know what, Quinn? There is one thing I did want to ask before I forget.
Absolutely.
I heard something about you plugging in the lightning cable and putting your tongue on the lightning side.
Oh. Yeah.
It felt like
It's
a 9-volt battery.
What? This is
Look,
news
I'm
to me.
I'm not endorsing this. If
Look,
you have to go to the emergency room, I didn't tell you to do it.
I have
But-
mine plugged in, but I'm in the I have the bigger block
Oh yeah.
plugged into the wall. So should I do it?
I don't know. That sounds dangerous. I just had the little 1 amp one plugged into the wall. I stuck the lightning cable against the tongue, and it gives you a little bit of a buzz, a little bit of a sting. It's nothing like a 9-volt battery. I mean, not even close.
Battery. That is
No.
weak.
Yeah.
I'm disappointed. I'm plugging it back in.
I'm sorry.
That was weak, dude.
Did you do it? Did you do it on what part of your tongue?
I did it on the front and the middle. Like I did like the whole thing, like both sides.
You got to do it on the side. Come on, that's where it's at. That's where the nerve endings are.
Oh, okay.
Bite a battery.
Nah, it's still weak.
I'll plug it into your phone.
Well.
I dried it off before I put it in. It's actually doing the update, so I'm at 78%, so it's good to go.
Yeah,
So
I'm done.
Nexus-
I haven't noticed any improvements. I just noticed that I have cell service and Touch ID work, so those are fixed.
There you go.
Well, that's a step in the right direction. Anyways, the Nexus 6, I am not excited about a 5.92-inch screen. I'm not.
Can I say amen? Amen.
Amen.
It's just
But
not
What's
This
the
is not
overall
on top.
size of this thing supposed to be?
5.92 inches.
Oh, it's the 5.2-inch screen. Okay, I'm just reading. I'm reading over it now. I didn't see that it was that large. I just saw the specs look pretty cool. I'd be willing to try that out. It might feel better, Tomas. You never know.
I'm not ultimately in the end, I'm looking for a replacement to be my daily driver. I don't review phones. I don't have a ton of phones, I just come across them. I've had my Nexus since release, and I couldn't have been happier. It's just, and the thing that sold me on it is its simplistic like face. It's just straight black, boom, and it's just pleasing to look at. And I'm all about immersion, as you may know, with my 34 inches of ultra wide monitor that I have in front of me, is that I like to, when I'm looking at my screen, I don't like to see, for example, like sensors and buttons and things. When you watch a YouTube video on the Nexus 5, you're completely immersed into content, and I'm all about that. And simplicity also is another thing that I really enjoy, and this phone is really simplistic. And then another thing is inductive charging. I think every phone should have that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
That is a technology I wish was adapted a little bit more fully.
No, I
Especially now that the Qi standard is there. I mean, you don't have to put proprietary crap anymore. You just do it.
For sure.
yeah.
I
don't
mean,
know. I just
I really like it. The Qi enables charging is just, it's fantastic. I mean, yeah, it has a 2300 milliamp hour battery, and then it may not get some people through the day, but if you sit at a desk all day, or wherever you are, if you put that charger in a place where you sit a lot and you put your phone on there, you're never going to run into a problem of having charge or making it through an entire day. I've never really had a problem making it through an entire day, even when I didn't use the Qi-enabled charger. Maybe I'm just not a super mobile freak. Maybe I like to look up and look at the world a little bit. I do check
What's
Twitter
wrong
and
with you,
things.
man? Come on. I agree, and I think especially with these larger capacity batteries in the larger phones, there's not a problem. The HTC One M8 had miraculous battery. It's still, I haven't seen a smartphone with as good a battery as that thing. I could go like 2 days without charging that thing, and I use my phone a lot. I'm on Twitter all day long, and nothing. I mean, it was fantastic. And I think the capacity on that is smaller. Granted, it's driving a lower resolution display and it's a smaller screen, but I mean, I didn't have any problem. And then the OnePlus One, I could go all day without having to recharge it. Sometimes if I woke up early, I'd get home at like 10 or 11:30. That's the other thing. I have really long days. I'm awake from, 6:30 to 3 in the morning. I sleep like 3 hours every night. Granted, the phone's not off the charger that whole time, but on my OnePlus One, I always had, battery during the day. It was never an issue. And with the iPhone 6 Plus, it's the same. The battery problems are non-existent.
Hey, just off note, just a tad. Lou just posted a picture on Instagram of him at the Apple Store with a brand new phone.
What a boss.
Either that or he's at home. I'm not sure what desk that picture has been taken on, but he has a brand new
Ultimate troll.
I really find it hard to believe that he walked in there and they didn't know who he was.
I think they would have had to have known, right?
No, you'd be surprised at those geniuses. They don't know anything.
It's funny that you say geniuses.
They don't know anything. I mean,
Self-proclaimed.
I know each and every one, and everybody in the room has had some interaction with an Apple genius that didn't know shit.
That's true. Yeah.
Very true. I don't know. Maybe I'm just giving them more. I don't even know the word. I'm giving them more. I don't know. I don't even know the word.
I've yet to come in contact with one that knew at least as half as much as I do about Mac OS 10. It's just.
You know what? The kid Andrew who helped me out getting the phone in Tennessee was actually really cool. He actually knew who Marco was because he said he watches all their stuff in 9 to 5 Mac. He said he's all over the websites. He's all over YouTube.
Nice.
He knew who Marquez was and Lou and all those guys.
That's good.
When I started asking him, so he was like, they were the most interactive team I've seen ever in an Apple store.
I think they were. I mean, we've had our Apple store for I don't know. It's been a long time. It opened right before the Olympics. It was one of the the first here. It was probably 13, 14 years ago now. And yeah, no, at the Gateway. It is
the Gateway. That moved to City Creek.
Yeah.
That store was really nice.
Yeah, and that store was opened a long time ago. I mean, back then, I felt like the geniuses were way more knowledgeable than they are now. And obviously, when you scale to a larger company, you're going to get employees that are less sophisticated, and you can't keep that cutting edge. But I still had good and bad experiences with geniuses, and I like that some of them. What I like, and it could be to your advantage or disadvantage depending on the mood and everything of the genius, but they're pretty well able to replace and do things as they see fit, And so I remember I went into an Apple store. This was back in the day when you jailbroke. I mean, you were running a serious risk. They would get thrown into hardware bricks. And it was back with the iPhone 3G, I think. And I went into the store. My phone was bricked. There was no chance of recovering it. And I was thinking, I'm going to have to pay the $149 off contract or out of warranty repair or whatever. Right. I went in there and said, "Hey man, look, I was messing around with my phone and it's stuck in a boot loop, and I'm just seeing what I can do to replace it." He's like, "Did you jailbreak this?" And I was like, yeah. I was thinking before, I was like, should I disconnect the battery or what should I do? So he'll think that it's not like it's a hardware problem, and then I can get my free phone. I'm like, that's not honest and whatever. So I went to the phone. I'm like, yeah, I jailbroke it. He's like, thanks for being honest, man. He's like, I'm going to go get you a new phone. The whole time I was like, wait, so do I have to pay for it or what's going on? He comes back, he's like, all right, dude, you're good to go. And I was like, well, thanks, dude. That's awesome. It was free. It was great.
Yeah, that is true. I mean, they replaced 2 logic boards in one of my MacBook Pros that I was having, and then they just ended up giving me a new one after it wouldn't solve the problem. I was just like, what?
That's cool.
Thanks. And then they gave me, the new box and everything, gave me my RAM and let me have that extra hard drive and the RAM that was in the new Mac Pro, and then I got a free 85-watt charger and everything. I was like, what?
Holy
you guys
cow.
are awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Little did you know that that was someone else's broken one that they returned. They just handed it to you.
Big
No,
time.
I'm just kidding. No, they have very good they have very good customer service that
And
way.
that's what keeps their refurb store stocked. For example, the Mac Pros that finally hit today, I thought that was pretty neat. I've been hovering over the order button there for a minute.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
cool.
really?
Did you end up picking one up or no?
Nah, it's still in my cart.
That temptation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little does he know that there's one set aside for him. They're like, okay, we're not going to sell this. We'll give him time to put it back on the shelf.
I love
It's-
mine. Couldn't be happier.
I bet. I'm jealous. But I have a 2012 MacBook Pro that is a pretty
Okay.
beastly, so I'm happy with it. I got 2 SSDs in it. Right now I'm running a custom Fusion drive. I was
Oh,
doing
that's great.
Rdio for a while.
Yeah, those Fusion drives are cool. I like them. We have one in our iMac at home, and it's an older my iMac. It's a 2010, I think, one of the 27 inches or the 27s. And the specs on it aren't great. I think it's an i5 or maybe even an i3 processor. Um, but it has that Fusion drive inside of it and it runs like a beast. As long as you have SSD and RAM in there, I mean, it'll feel fast until you have to do something that's like taxing to the processor. Once you start editing video, then it's a disaster. But
Sure.
I mean, as long as you got RAM and you have a hard drive, those are the secrets. That's people get obsessed with clock speed of their processors, and at the end of the day, for day-to-day stuff, it's not really important.
Yeah. I have 32 gig of RAM in this iMac.
I remember I saw your video. I was like, that dude's crazy.
It is crazy, but you know what? It still locks up.
Does it?
When
Oh.
I'm in the middle of it got so bad one point I was like what's going on? I restarted the computer and it was a little bit better, but yeah, when I had Photoshop going, I had motion or not motion, After Effects, I had compressor doing audio from the podcast, and I was editing on Final Cut.
Yeah, well, you're asking for trouble with that, even with the
No,
Mac
I
Pro.
know.
Adobe will grab up every single sliver
so
of RAM.
Yeah, it is a hog.
And they only use like 2 cores too, don't they? They still have, or have they fixed that by now?
But they'll grab RAM and cores. They'll just grab all of it. If you don't limit them in preferences, they'll go crazy.
But it hurt a little bit already, and it got to the point where I was like, okay, I gotta stop and let some things finish before I start doing, because I was just kind of going. I was in a groove and I didn't want to stop till I was trying to put videos in, and I was like, I'd go to resize it and I'd like wait and wait and wait, and then it would resize too small, and I go to pull it out a little to pull the video out a little to make it bigger. I'd wait. I'm like, all right, I'm done. I was like, I gotta stop doing it because this is killing me.
That's like using a magnetic, a platter drive now. Getting on a machine that has that is
Horrendous.
No,
Yeah.
I won't do it.
No. Well, yeah, it's funny. I mean, there's still a problem. I remember when my Mac Pro got here, it didn't have a good install of OS 10, and so I set it up as a new computer. I never import data from old computers. You're just asking for trouble. So I always set it up as new. I set it up as new. I re-downloaded Final Cut Pro from the App Store, by the way, which feels so good. After 2 years, you're like, free download, and that was great. So I downloaded that, and I started editing video, and I was having like the worst time. It was just not working for me. And I was posting on Twitter. I'm like, I know it's 4K video, but this thing like comes to a stop. And Marquez is like, dude, that shouldn't be happening on that Mac Pro. I was like, oh, it's happening. I don't know what's going wrong. And he's like, try a reinstall of your OS. I was like, no, that sucks. I don't want to do that. And so I did it, and since that day, it's been speedy as speedy.
Fresh installs are just so nice. That's why I try not to customize as much as possible, because I don't like to lose those customized settings because it takes so long to put them back.
Yeah.
It's just so nice to get used to the way the system works, and then if I need to do a fresh install, it's just like I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, and maybe it's something that is not even true anymore, but I try to keep my machines as clean as I can. Like this computer here at work, I don't have anything installed on it. I have Final Cut Pro, I have the Twitter client, I have Rdio, I have my Fidelity music app, I have a word processing client, Opera, and that's it, and Final Cut, and I don't have anything else. And I feel like, if you install and then uninstall and then reinstall and then uninstall and you move files from here, just with time it gets sluggish and slow and bad.
That throws your preferences through the ringer.
Yeah, you have all those Adobe uninstall files that are still hidden in your. Ugh, terrible.
I use Clean My Mac too. I have a pretty
Me
good
too.
experience with that.
Me too.
Getting rid of stuff and cleaning stuff out. But Quinn, I started out with this iMac, not putting anything on it, and it got to the point where I was tired of moving things over from this computer to this one, so I just started putting some more on here, and I think I need to scale it back a little bit.
I've cleaned 139 gigs to date.
How
Yeah.
long have you had that?
For a while now, probably 2 years. I have to do work on my system as well, so I have a virtual machine in Windows. Because like every educational institution in the world, they all run on Windows for some reason, and everything creative gets done on a Mac, and any learning module that's useful is created on a Mac.
Are you on VMware or Parallels?
Parallels.
Are you a VMware, Quinn, when you use it, or?
Well, I don't. I've jumped back and forth. I don't use Windows now, thank goodness, anymore. I had to in high school for a couple of programming classes I was taking, which I've since discovered I hate, so I'm not doing that anymore. But yeah, I used VMware for a time. I think it was VMware 6, and then it went to Parallels 7, or maybe I'm backwards, and it was VMware 5, and then it went to Parallels 6. I don't remember. But they kind of take turns. Like one revision Parallels is better, and then VMware gets better, and I think Parallels is kind of the one that's good now. I don't know. Anywho.
Well, I run Parallels because I haven't messed with VMware, but Parallels does create a true virtual machine, so I can map to network drives and do all that type of stuff with it. I'm sure you could do it in VMware. I just don't have the motivation to relearn. Within Parallels, you can run in Windows like you would if you were using a Windows machine. So mapping to drives and things and all that stuff's done behind the scenes for you. So it's like a true virtual machine.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, well, I don't know how long we're gonna keep going. We don't have to do this forever. We could be done. Is there anyone in the chat that has a pressing question that they would like answered, or an opinion, or you can call Mike out for saying something dumb? I don't care.
Me neither. Go ahead, ask away.
What happened to that guy? I'm just reading this string of tweets here. He got mad at you, Mike.
Who's that? Oh, Demo Glass?
Yeah.
I don't care. I was getting smart ass with Justin, and he was going back, and Dom was like, "Quit picking on him," and I'm like, "Yeah, bite me." And he's like, "How dare you insult Dom?" I'm like, "Do I know you?"
Go away, please.
I know Dom, and we're just butting heads. It's fine. So I apologize to Dom, and this guy's like, "Oh, you're still a retard," or something like that. And I'm like, "Okay, I am." I was like, "What do you want to do about it?" And then Jonathan's like, "Knock it off." I'm like, "Oh boy."
Yeah,
Brandon Jensen
Jonathan's
wants
the
to know what
peacekeeper.
our favorite phone is.
What was that?
Oh.
Brandon Jensen wants to know what our favorite phone is.
He has a BYU logo in his avatar. I don't
That's
like
unfortunate.
that. Come on, Brandon, get with the times. What's my favorite phone? I don't really have a favorite.
I have an answer, and it's by far the Nexus 5. I know I'm a fanboy. Sorry.
Even now.
Even now, the thing runs. It runs just beautifully. I haven't done any. It's never really crashed. I can remember like once or twice to where it's like it gets hung up, but a power down and a power back on solves the problem.
I've been pretty happy with the 5S. I mean, the 6 is. I don't know. I wouldn't say that it's my favorite phone at this point.
Austin's in here.
I know. I just saw him. I said hi. I don't know if I have a favorite phone either.
Hey, what's up, Austin? How's it going, man? I don't know. If we're talking legacy, I have a favorite. It's easy. The Nokia 6820. was the coolest freaking phone ever. Do you guys know which one that is?
Hold on, I gotta look it up.
Oh man, it was so freaking cool.
At Legacy, it's a Motorola Razr, the flip phone.
Jesus H. Look at that arm.
It's sweet. It was like one of those classic Nokia bricks, and this was, excuse me, those Europeans are going to criticize me. The Nokias, the Nokia 6820 was amazing. I got this phone, I think that before 9th grade, so I had already had the Razr. Like this phone was already old when I got it.
Right.
And this was just a few months before I bought my first iPhone, I think. I don't remember. Yeah. But it was awesome because it looked like a Nokia brick, and kids at school would have like their sidekicks, and they'd be like, "Cool phone, bro!" Like, looks ridiculous. And then it had the T9 keyboard on front, and you could flip it, and a QWERTY keyboard would be revealed with the screen in the middle. And I'd be like, "Yeah, it's all right." They'd be like, "Whoa, dude, that's so cool!" I'd be like, "Yeah, your sidekick's not so cool after all, is it?"
I don't know why I thought this was awesome, but whatever. I had the Kyocera Koi KX2. This thing was like on a swivel. Like you could take the phone and it would go down to like one large screen, and it was a center point in the middle, and you would take the screen and swing it up, and it would reveal the buttons and everything underneath of it. It was.
That just sounds epic.
I remember having seen this. Yeah.
I got this on eBay. I wanted it so bad. I don't know why.
This may be hard to believe, but I didn't use the internet for the first time until I got into the Marine Corps. I mean, yeah, I had high school and stuff, and I was 19 years old when I first logged on to MySpace. When MySpace first had account numbers associated with your friends, so your friends that logged, that had the low profile numbers, the like 3000s or whatever, always showed up first in your friends list.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I was absolutely flabbergasted by that. I was, holy crap, this is some cool ass shit.
Yeah, I never had a MySpace. That was ahead of my time. The first thing I was on was, well, MySpace was like cool when I was in like 6th or 7th grade, but then there was already like porn and stuff on there. So my mom was like, "You're not getting a MySpace." So I had MSN Messenger when that started being cool. Like AIM, I don't know why AIM never got cool here in Utah. It was MSN forever. I mean, that was the coolest thing. And I remember we'd be at school because none of us had phones yet, because no one had phones, and we'd be like, "Dude, MSN after school." "Yeah, bro. All right, I'll be there."
I didn't get my first cell phone until I was 20.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
when did MySpace start? When was that? Here, let me go to.
2003, 2002.
Okay, so it got popular from 2005, 2006.
Yeah.
What was I doing in 2006? I guess I was. I don't know. I guess I just.
Quinn, you were probably in like 10th grade, weren't you?
Who, me? In 2006?
In 2006, I was in 8th grade. I was 13.
Dude, you're making me feel old. Stop it.
So I was at my last job. I started there in 2004. What was I into then? I just don't know. I don't know.
And MSN was worse than MySpace porn. I mean, you get on there and just have a bunch of, like a chat roulette if you ever went into one of those rooms.
Oh man, chat roulette. I remember chat roulette before it got bad, man. It was funny for a couple of weeks and like totally clean, and then that was bad.
Oh yeah, then people just really got into it.
Endless sausage.
I think it was what and I know this sounds funny. When did the original iPod? That was in
2001.
That was in 2001. Yeah, so at that point I guess those are the phones that I was using at that time, those horrible phones. And the Kyocera Slider SE47. That was a kick-ass phone.
Second. Oh, go ahead.
No, and then I think in 2004 at that point, I think Windows was making their run with the Zune, and we were like, me and a guy at work were all against Apple. We were like, down with Apple, we're getting the Zune. And I went out and I got the Zune for Christmas.
And then Apple came out with that classic, the 2nd gen with the chrome back.
Well, and then my buddy was like, "Oh, you got the Zune?" I was like, "Yeah, look at this thing." You probably should have got the Apple instead. I'm like, ah! I was like, why? Apple sucks.
Dude, that second gen iPod was a beast. I mean, I took that thing on runs through because I was in Riga at the time, and I got it, and I was like, yes, but it was big as, bigger than a phone. But it was no, it was it's the next gen after that.
Oh,
Quinn.
the third. That was my favorite. The one that was fully capacitive.
Yeah, with the chrome back and everything.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Yeah, that
that's a
one,
great
right there.
iPhone.
Yeah, and then going on runs with that thing is a tank. If you didn't get water in the buttons, my friend spilled some alcohol on it when we were listening to music, and that kind of trashed it because it got in the wheel. If you didn't get water in the wheel, that thing lasted me like 4 or 5 years.
Didn't get water in the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, to this day I go on. Sadly, I go on eBay and I look at all those classic iPods and the '07 iPhone, and I hover over that buy it now, and I'm like, and I'm always looking for the first gen iPhone, because I know at some point I'm gonna want to pick it up, but I want the box, I want the cords, I want everything that it came with, and and I don't want it to be too scratched up. But then I get to the point and I'm like, I find one for like $150, and I'm like, I could put that 150 to much better use somewhere else. I was like, I guess I'm just not at that time. So
I've got the original iPhones here. They're in bad condition. I mean, these were the ones we used.
yeah.
These are both the 8 gig. So these were my parents. I bought the 2 gig.
Oh wow.
Or was it the 2 or the 4? The 4. 4. Yeah. The 4 was only available for a couple of months, and then no, I think it was 2.
Was it 2 gig?
I don't know. I remember there were 2 when they came out. No. I remember now. No, I don't.
4 and 8.
What I do remember is I bought it. It was $5.99, and then after like 4 weeks, it was less than a month. They dropped the price down $100, and we were all pissed because we had paid $599 on contract for it. And so then this was like way worse than the Antenna Gate or whatever, the Bendgate.
Oh, of course, man. That would have
vexed, man, because you bought this phone, and they were only the real Apple people, because everyone, like, when the iPhone came out, people don't remember. People were like, are you guys high? That's not going to kill Palm. That's not going to kill BlackBerry.
Yeah, that was.
Like, they're on top of the world. And I remember people came out, they're like, yeah, it's a cute toy. I'm going to stick with my Palm. And so only the real enthusiasts bought it. I remember I was 14. I was working as a janitor in an elementary school, making like $5 an hour, and I saved up for months for that thing.
A bunch of money.
I was pulling in the bills, man.
Dude, when I started my job, the minimum wage was $4.15 or something like that.
Oh yeah, no, I was getting paid $5.15 when I started working. That was minimum.
Oh, I was like, dude, I'm not even that old.
I'm only making like $7.40. I'm like, are you kidding me? I still don't make $7.40. Anyway, no, but I remember like saving up every penny, because they announced it at MacWorld in January, and it didn't come out till June 9th? When was the day? I don't remember. And I remember I logged on. I mean, I was like, I looked at it every day on our old iMac. I was like, I'm going to get that thing. I'm going to get that thing. And it finally came out. We stood in line, and like no one was in line. No one cared.
There is no line. We were just...
Yeah, so I stood in line for the iPhone. Granted, we didn't camp out overnight. I mean, like, we stood in line like 30 minutes before the store opened. We were the only ones there. But I got the phone on day 1. And I remember after like 3 weeks, they're like, oh, by the way, it costs $4.99 now. And everyone was pissed. And so Apple's like, okay, sorry. And they gave everyone a $100 Apple Store gift card, which was good. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah, not as good as $100 in cash, but,
No.
Yeah. I remember when I saw the BlackBerry and I saw somebody respond to an email on it, and I was like, what? That was amazing.
See, now you guys got me going back on eBay looking at phones.
Knock it off.
Yeah, stop, Mike, stop.
Here's a rare iPhone first gen 2G, 16 gig, new in box.
New in box? How much do they want for that? 10 grand?
No, this one. Wait, I skipped by. Here we go. First generation 8 gig sealed, never opened, $4,995.
Lost their mind.
They're crazy. They're crazy.
I'll buy me
This,
6 iPhone 6s and a 6 Plus.
well, I'm embarrassed on how much I paid for this thing. This is the second gen. We had the first generation iPod, and um, it actually worked out to my advantage because the Amazon seller, I bought it on Amazon as like the new and used, like in the used section, whatever. And it's not an original back, but, and now it looks crappy because I've just tucked it around and used it in videos, but it was perfect when I got it, and the front was still original. They had changed the battery. It worked amazing, and it's in really great condition. And I paid $120 for it, I think, and it came with the box and everything. So like, it's pretty legit. And I remember I got it, and it wasn't the first generation like they had told me. It was the second gen because this one doesn't have the actual spinning wheel. It's the capacitive wheel. Okay. So I was like, hey, you guys sent me the wrong one. That's, a lie. You told me it was the first gen. And they're like, well, yes, the Amazon listing was for the first generation, but had you read the description of the item, you would have noticed that it's a first or a second generation. I'm like, well, then why does it say first generation in the title? I'm like, that's ridiculous. And they're like, well, you can send it back if you want a refund. And part of me was like, it's a pain. I don't really care that much. And then I was like, no, but it's $120. I'm like, come on, guys. I mean, like, I'm like, just send me like the first gen and we'll call it good. And they're like, you know what, we're just refunding you and you can keep it. I'm like, well, great. So it was free.
Oh, Jesus. That's
you start complaining now.
Yeah, they'll do stuff. They do cool stuff, man. If you complain, you can get what you want.
Good Lord. That's funny.
Unless, of course, you want to change the capacity and color of your iPhone, in which case you can, Mike. Mike can tell you firsthand that if you want the Plus but you order the 6, it's not happening.
I try. They need to slim that thing down before I even consider it because I held it in my hand and it's not a substantial device, but I was like, nope.
Yeah, it's too big.
Almost immediately I was like, nope.
Yeah, I have it and I'm split. Like, I like it, and when I go to the original or when I go to the iPhone 6, I'm like, it's a little bit too small. But I would probably, at the end of the day, still pick the 6 because the 6 Plus, it's not just a big phone, it's uncomfortably large. Like, my fingers get stretched, and I'm like, at the end of the day, I'm like, man, that freaking hurts.
Yeah. And then
you have to hold it. You can't hold it like a regular phone. You have to hold it like halfway right here in the middle and balance it, and it's
you're cradling it. You're like,
yeah. Well, I've already almost dropped it twice, and you guys know that I drop stuff like that.
We know you have a lot of luck with this.
Here's the thing. I need to get some this is my theory, and call me crazy. I'm not the case guy anymore. I used to be pretty knowledgeable at that, and now Larry's still the man, Larry Greenberg. Yeah. But I'm thinking either the Spigen or the Switch Easy, like, super thin or whatever it's called. It's like a 0.3 millimeter case. And those don't do a lot when it comes to drop protection, but they'll help a little. I mean, they at least prevent your phone from, you'll split the case right in half. I mean, the case is going to break if you drop it, but at least like it won't dent the corner or whatever. And then for the display, because that's what you break. I mean, if you drop the phone on the corner, you're fine. It's the screen that you're going to break. Yes. So I want to get, I guess it's Spigen. Yeah, SGP is making the glassed screen shield that they have in its actual glass, but they're bending it to the contour to the phone. Yeah. So it won't look goofy or awkward. It will actually be beautifully bent. Sounds weird. Bendgate. So yeah. So it'll be and that's what I want to do because it will still be minimalist. Because I bought this this Casemate case, the Casemate Rugged, I think. What a joke! Yeah. It's like a tank, man. It's huge, totally unusable. And I could probably drop it off a building when it would be fine, but I'm not willing to carry around so much bulk. So yeah, I think I'm gonna get the glass and then do a really, really, really thin screen, like one of those little polyurethane cases on the back, and call it good. Yeah. And then if it still breaks, I have Apple Care, so I pay the $70 and I get the 2 replacements. So
Spigen makes this really nice case. I don't know if you guys saw my Instagram post of the iPhone 6 in the case that was clear. There's bubbles around the edges, like air impact areas, and it's clear, so you don't really lose the aesthetic of the phone.
Oh yeah, that's the TPU one, right? It's like TPU on the outside and then the back is clear.
Hard plastic, and it was only $8 on Amazon.
I still have a little bit of pull with the case companies. Spigen's
a pull with everybody.
Spigen is sending me out a box. It's coming on Monday. It weighs 3 pounds.
Wow!
So I can only imagine what.
You're getting a lot of stuff, man.
I know, like 3 pounds.
Giveaway. Woo!
Our very old, and Quinn, you actually know Zoltan from Switch Easy.
Of course, yeah.
He gave me his cell phone number a couple years ago at CES,
Uh-huh.
and I hit him up the other day and I asked him how everything was going, and we started talking, and I said, you wanna send out some of those cases? I'll review them, and he's like, yeah, absolutely. He's like, he asked me what I had, and he's like, yeah, I'll throw a little gift package together and send them out to you. So I don't know how many he's gonna send.
I mean, you gotta hook me up.
Yeah,
Zoltan's a
absolutely.
great guy. I kind of have like a man crush on him. He's a very good-looking man.
Yeah, he is a good looking dude.
Whoa.
No,
Just
he
when
is.
you guys see us at CES, and you guys in the chat, you got to go to CES. It's a great time. I'm going this year. Are you guys going?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You going, Tomas? You got to go,
I'm
man.
not.
Vegas is right around the corner. We can drive down together. Whatever. Who cares? Yeah, it's great though. Actually, Southwest has a killer flight from here to Vegas. You can get down there and back for $99.
I like
Doesn't
to
get
drive,
better than
though.
that.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah. The problem is you spend $80 in the taxi from the airport to the convention center, which is like a stone throw away. And there's no Uber nor Lyft in Vegas due to their taxi unions.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'll probably actually end up driving because I'm going to want a car because I usually stay off the strip.
Don't gamble on the strip.
There's a hotel called South Point that's actually by the airport, and it's not that nice. It's like a 3-star or whatever. It's not a themed resort. It smells. It's old. Whatever. The rooms are nice. The casino is kind of gross, and you'd never eat at the restaurants there. It's definitely not like a hotel on the strip. It's nothing great, but it's cheap. You pay like $119 a night, and the Wi-Fi is free, and it's owned by Cox. The hotel is owned by Cox Internet. Or whatever their name is, Cox Networking. I don't remember. It's a weird, uncomfortable name. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, you get crazy fast internet. I was uploading like those videos when I did my CES 2012 coverage, or no,
When you went down for like 2
2011. Yeah, that 2011 I went down for 3 days, something like that.
Yeah, we were like, there's no way he's gonna cover it. There's no way. You were like on fast forward that entire.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't like, and people were like, "Hey man, let's meet up." I'm like, "Sorry, dude, I'm busy."
I can't go. Gotta work.
Yeah, and Mike's like, "Dude, you're kind of a weird guy. You're kind of antisocial." I'm like, "No, I swear I'm normal. It's just that I was like on hyper mode. I needed to get everything done." And
It was pretty funny. Yeah, we were like, yeah, we're not meeting up with Quinn. Why not? Just forget
he's a
it.
weird dude.
I think he sold his soul to get down here to somebody, and he has to hurry up and get the videos done. We don't know.
But at CES 2012, oh, that was like the worst day of my whole life. We flew down at 4 a.m. I got to Vegas at like 6:15 in the morning, and the convention doesn't start till like 8. But we bring our gear, everything. I went down with a buddy. We bought tickets like 3 days before because I knew I was going, but I didn't know who I was going to bring yet.
Right.
And so I was like, oh man. And the guy who I had planned on bringing wasn't registered. And CES is very like, they're weird because they'll give you free tickets like 2 months before, but the passes are not transferable. So if you're not the name that's on there, they will not give you the pass.
Oh,
and so I was all freaking out, like, man, I'm gonna have to buy one at the door and whatever, but who cares? It's $100. And I went up and I'm like, I'm Quinn of Snazzy Labs, and he's like, and your friend? I'm like, that's Marcus on a Freddy, which actually was not who was with me. He's like, all right, here. And I was like, oh, well, that was easy, so I don't have to buy a pass after all. So he was just Marcus for the day.
Oh, that worked.
Yeah, it worked out great. And that was rough, though, because I tried to do as much coverage as I could, and then we flew out at like 8 p.m. So it was like a 24-hour day for me. We did not sleep. I didn't eat. Oh, it was rough.
That was the day that I was thinking of. That's because
Oh,
you're
yeah.
like, what the hell's he gonna do in one day? But you know what? You fit in everything that you could. I think we even
Yeah.
saw you at one time.
Yeah, I got probably 8 videos, I think. So it worked
You should
out.
be good this year too, though, right? Because the semester doesn't start till after CES.
Yeah,
It's
and that's
starting
what.
early this year.
Yeah, Tomas makes a good point because that was the problem. Is it was the first week of school. You can't miss out on
Can't
the
miss
first
that.
week of school, right? Because you get all the syllabuses and all that stuff. Anyway, so yeah, this week my school starts the week after CES. So I'm gonna go down for the whole thing. That'll be awesome.
Nice. You know, somebody says that you need a press invite. It's not an invite. You have to register for it, and they really locked down on it because before you used to be able to use your YouTube channel, and now you have to have a website.
Yeah.
And
it has to be like a legit website too.
Yeah, you actually have to have stuff on it and post stuff on it. But beyond that, that's about it. And I think it's funny because you have something that happened like what happened with Lou, and he blows up. Now he was already blowing up. I mean, geez, he has 1 million subscribers. So he's there. That's it.
I think he's got 1.5 now.
Probably.
Wow.
And when someone like that wants to go to CES, I really don't think there's a problem with it. Now I think he's part of a network as it is, so I think he doesn't have to worry about if he did or didn't have a channel, a website, but he does. So I think there is there are ways to get in if you don't have a website.
Yeah, you can kind of.
I know
You
that
don't want to go down there when there's lots of people asking about being 18. You don't want to go to Vegas being 18. Come on now.
Yeah.
Or when you're Mormon, you still can't do anything.
Oh, yeah, that too.
No, we love Vegas. We go, we eat. There's good food. You hang out at the pool. We do a couple slots here and there. I did my first slot, so I'm now 21. So I was like, here's my limit, $5, and I'd lost all five. So I have no desire.
A lot of people say, don't gamble on the strip. Drive to Wendover, Quinn. You know where Wendover is.
Yeah.
Actually,
hit up Buffalo Bills and what's that place called?
Buffalo Bills. Wait,
in Prim, Nevada, right on the Nevada-California border. Oh man, that's good stuff.
You gotta stay away from the slots, dude. You gotta stay away from the slots.
I was thinking like the blackjack and everything, and I was lost. Like I don't know how a casino works, so I wanted to play a round of poker, but I went into like the nice poker room, and they're like buy-in's $40. I'm like, oh, screw that, I'm not doing that. And then we left, and on the way out, it's like $5 blackjack. I'm like, oh wait, no, hold on, wait.
That's what I want to play.
So yeah, so I didn't.
Roulette's pretty good.
Oh yeah, we actually when I was down there a couple of years ago with Jay, and another guy on YouTube. We were at roulette. I won a couple $100, but he won like $700.
Wow.
And that paid for our rent-a-car.
Well, there you go. My dad, I don't know, like if he cheats, I don't know, but he always wins at craps, man. He'll take he'll be like, well, I'm taking $100 down and that's it. And he'll come back with like $1,200. I'm like, how'd you get that? I'm playing craps. I was like, well, what do you do, man? Like, how does that? He wins every time. And I'm like, I don't know if he's like got it in with the casino or he's like.
I walk away with money from roulette every time.
Wow, there you go.
I the last time I played roulette, I made a few $100. I usually make a few $100 every time I play roulette.
Don't gamble on it. When the last time I went down to Vegas, we were eating, and there was the server there. She was like, we were like, so what do you recommend? And then she had like this stone cold stare on her face, and she's like, don't gamble on the strip. It's like she lost her whole fortune on the strip, and that's why she was serving or something.
Oh man.
I was like, okay, I believe you. You live here. I'm not gambling on the strip. And as soon as we went off the strip a little bit, we started winning.
Oh yeah, no, I know your odds of winning are much higher once you leave. Even if you go to like the more, for lack of a better word, more ghetto casinos, like you head up to the older, like the north end of the strip where stuff is old, like past Circus Circus, and Circus Circus is already pretty scary as it is. But once you get further up, I think it's
stay out of the Luxor too. I know Larry was gonna get a hotel room there, but then beds, sketchy.
That's true. Yeah, no, we stayed at Circus Circus one year. Worst decision I've ever made in my whole life. It's disgusting. Yeah. There's a new hotel actually on the strip. It's called
MGM's really nice.
It's called ALS. It's no wait. No, that's the Ice Bucket Challenge. What's it called?
Ice Bucket Challenge.
SLS. And it's the old. I don't want to be wrong. I don't remember what resort it was that they did. I think it was the. Man, I don't remember. I think it's not the Mirage. What did they do?
What around
one of the really old hotels, and they just redid it. Hotels North Strip, Las Vegas, SLS Hotels. It's a really like unattractive building. It looks like a business building.
Yeah,
but
that's not the Mirage. The Mirage is beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's supposedly really hip, and it's on the north end of the resort. What is it? Man, what was that hotel? It's like that ghetto one. It was like one of the first hotels that they closed a couple years ago.
Not the. I know there was the Flamingo, but that's not it.
That's closed.
Yeah.
That closed.
Sahara. That's what it was.
Oh, Sahara.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So they've redone the whole thing, and it looks really cool from the outside. We didn't go inside. The place to stay, and it's going to be the most expensive. Although the Bellagio always is number one. I mean, you can't. The Bellagio and the Cosmopolitan are the nicest hotels on the strip.
MGM's pretty nice too, though, Quinn. They take really good care of their rooms.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
You know what's nice about staying at the Venetian is the Google Fiber.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I mean, if you're about getting videos uploaded that week, that's the place you got to go.
What do they charge $20 a night? 50
for what?
For the internet.
I'm not sure what they charge, but it's totally worth it when you're getting when you're getting 400 down and 500 up.
Oh, yeah. The where is it? They just redid the hotel, and that's where we stayed when I went to Vegas a couple weeks ago. We stayed at Mandalay Bay has their new tower. It used to be called The Hotel, and they've revamped it, and it's called the Delano now. And it's like a really cool hotel. There's a bunch of clubs there, and it has quite the nightlife scene now. But the rooms are absolutely gorgeous. They've made all of the rooms, rather than like hotel rooms, they're all suite style. So you have like a really tiny little kitchen. You have a living room with a couch, and and then you have we did the 2 queens. So we had 2 queens, and then there's 2 bathrooms.
That's got to be like $200 a night.
Yeah. We did it through Hotwire. We got lucky and landed that hotel. And we paid $129 a night, I think, but that was because we did it through Hotwire. I was looking at prices for CES, and it's $549 a night. So, yeah. Lou will be able to stay there with all the AdSense money that he got this week, but
I think he should put us all up.
That's true. You should just rent out a whole hotel. Come on, there's no problem with that.
He made enough money from that today.
I was thinking about that. I mean, obviously I'm not going to talk about it, but he made quite a little penny on that.
You know what? I am going to talk about it. He made anywhere minimum $5 or $3 million. Anywhere in that range. You know the whole Social Blade thing? They're like, you made $3 today or $445, and I'm like,
wow.
That
is accurate. Somewhere in between there.
Sometimes I think it's funny. It tells me that like the minimum I make, like on a day, is like $18 for the day, and I'm like, nope, not even near it, not even close. It's like $4. Like.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I bet he made over $100,000.
Oh, easy. I would have to say it was over the 6-figure mark. Even if it was, even if it was half of that, that's still awesome. Even if it was $10,000, even if it was $500, that is
way more than that. Way more than that. Way more than 10. Yeah, no, for sure.
It's just, you know what? And it's for something that it was just like I think Larry was saying this, or it's just like you have a nugget of an idea.
Oh yeah, and it gets big.
And it gets big. We all have those videos. Not myself as much as.
Sure. I have the same. It's just mine don't get big. But no, I'm kidding. One video that really got big while I was gone was the iPhone. Well, it's not big. It has like 2.3 million views or something.
That's still a lot of views, dude.
But it's the iPhone 4.
Half of Mike's viewership, but that's okay.
Yeah, the iPhone 4 disassembly and replacement video. The iPhone 4. So I have the 4S up. No, it has like 200,000 views. No, that's a lie. It has like 1 million now. But the one that still gets, I'd say 30% of my money each month is that video.
Yeah. I'm trying to think which one mine that does it. I'm like, really? That's still pulling stuff? I know a lot.
I make the new ones and they're like $2.
Yeah. I'm like, I gotta look at it. I just looked at it today.
My tutorials do the best.
Mine too. And those even though I hate them, I'm like, I hate them and they suck and I'll never do them, but I'm actually doing one for tomorrow. It's like one of those top 10 videos. So tomorrow I'm doing the top 10 iOS features you don't know about.
I like those.
I like them too. They're just kind of like link baity a little bit, but they give views.
But you know what though? You have to work to get them done.
That's true.
Work at it. Whenever I see any of those guys do that, or anyone that I follow on YouTube do that, I go, you know what? I go in there, and if I learn one thing, I know that they work their butts off to do that.
Like Brandon's Tech Bite, he does some awesome stuff.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is.
Any of his videos, he does.
You know what, Quinn? You know what video I have that's still pulling money?
Huh.
the glass TR durability test when I basically took a drill and the hammer and the nail into the screen protector and it didn't budge. That made I guess I'm not really supposed to say what it made for the month, but that made the most this month for me so far.
Oh, there you go.
The top 3 are Spigen videos.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, my
Look at
top 3 are Spigen videos, and those are not new videos from the iPhone 5.
You guys are just blowing me out of the water, but I'm new to this. So, but my top is extending your network using Airport Extreme and Airport
yeah,
Express.
I like that one because I
that's a
had
good
no
video.
idea how you use that Airport Extreme.
I'm actually gonna have to watch that because I just bought an Airport Extreme yesterday. That
then,
stupid, gosh forsaken MacBook. I'm telling you, the second you close the lid on that MacBook Air,
The Wi-Fi gets cut.
Wi-Fi is gone.
Yeah.
And when it's open, I get great speeds. And the second I close it, it won't even connect to the network. And I'm like,
Nope.
maybe I'm 1 floor and 30 feet away from a modem, and so it's ridiculous.
I thought that was just me. I thought there was something wrong with the MacBook Air. I hate that because I go on, I open it up, and it flies right open, and I start looking for things, and I'm like, not connected to the, and I look at the thing, and it's going bling, bling.
Yeah,
bling.
well, and the problem is I have that stupid, I like it, but that stupid Henstocks thing.
Yes.
And so you have to leave it closed. And it was great in the old days because I actually ran a wired connection to my MacBook Pro because there was the option to throw an Ethernet cable in there.
Right.
But now that the MacBook Air has like all of 2 ports on it, you can't you can't do it. And of course you can run Ethernet through the Thunderbolt port, but the Henstock only supports mini display. So I'd have to rewire the whole thing, and it's just a disaster. And so, yeah.
Where'd Marco go?
Marco.
Oh,
Then my next one is create your own Fusion drive. That one did really well.
oh yeah. That was
I gotta watch that, man. I'm if I can't get one, I'm gonna buy one because I really like the idea of that.
I did it with 2 SSDs, so I never experienced any kind of lag or drag.
What? That's
Yeah,
not
that's
a
awesome.
Fusion drive. That's just a flat-out kick-ass drive.
I'm using. Are you going? Are you? I can't speak English. Do you have the one that has the drive actually in the transporter, or are you using the USB 3 one?
No, I have 2 drives inside my MacBook Pro, so they're inside of. I
No,
bought
but
an OWC data doubler and I
Marco!
transported.
Pull up.
Hey, Marco, what's up, man?
What's up, brother?
How come you came in as like Thomas Klein or something?
Thomas Klein. I have
It
no
said
clue
Tom.
why it
It
says
said Tom Klein joined the room.
It
And
still says that.
Is that your AKA?
that. I think I actually joined. See, okay, I think I actually joined from one of my phone dog accounts. So let me swap over real quick. I don't want to confuse everybody thinking that I'm Tom Klein. Hang on 1 second.
All right.
But yeah, I just got the regular sync. I keep the drive outside of it because I think the one inside is not a good deal because you can only go up to 2 terabytes. What if I want to throw 4 terabytes or 6 terabytes on it?
So do you just have a USB 3 drive going into that, or?
Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about putting a USB 3 because that port on there is a USB 2.
Oh, really? So, I mean, it doesn't even matter. It just has to be. I mean, all you need is like a 7200
USB 2
RPM
I would
drive.
go with. Besides Ethernet, over network doesn't support
That's
USB
true.
3 speeds anyways.
That's very valid. Yeah, the Drobo. I love my Drobo, but it's starting to kill me. I mean, it's getting way too slow. Years ago, it was great. I have the Drobo FS, so it's via Ethernet, and when it goes through my network, it's fast. Once you get a transfer started, it'll do, I don't know, probably
Pick up.
10 megabytes a second, which is not fast, but it's certainly sufficient.
For a network
The
drive?
problem is, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, no, it's fast. The problem is that since it's a network drive, it does not interface nicely with the computer. So it takes a second to come up, and then once it comes up, it still like takes 15 seconds for the folders to come up, and it's just way too slow for my patient. I'm not patient enough. So
The 5N is probably a good solution to that. I have the 5N, and I absolutely love the thing.
I love my Drobo. And I want to upgrade. I just am like, they're so expensive. That I'm
Reach
like,
out to
holding
them.
out.
They sold me one for on the low if I did a review for them.
That's true. They gave me mine for review. I feel bad being like, can I have another one?
Why
I guess
not?
if I review it, yeah, I guess if I review it, then anyway.
Yeah, you got people rolling with rocking 3 monitors on YouTube, and they didn't drop a dime on one.
I threw the MSAT in there, and that thing flies, man. I know. Yeah. Here's a for instance in my practical because I store all my completed projects on there.
Mhm.
from my YouTube. And then at the end, I have my end scene where I, have the click this video type thing, click my past work. I usually just drag that video in from the Drobo into my project, and I can render it from there. So if that speaks to anything around, you can actually work a project from the Drobo 5N.
Oh, wow, that's awesome. Because that's what I want is this stinky little tiny little baby internal hard drive on my MacBook or my Mac Pro. The SSD, is too small, and I finally figured out how to. It's not even a nice way of doing things. It saves that big huge backup file inside of your movies folder under your username, and maybe it's different. I was using an article that was already probably a year old, but I couldn't find anything in the preferences that allows you to change that. So I had to run some bizarre terminal command so that the stinking file would save to my external or my USB 3 drive. And so I have a 7200 RPM Western Digital 1 terabyte drive that's just hooked up by a USB 3, and it works great. I mean, it's a little bit slower than when I'm exporting, but I don't care because I'm not here. I click upload and I leave and I'm gone. So
that's another thing that has me concerned with that size, and upgrading the Mac Pro into a 64 gigabyte of RAM because of the sleep image. If you guys don't know of sleep image, you should read about it. It's essentially whatever RAM you have in your Mac is that amount of storage is taken up on your hard drive. So you should all keep that in mind.
There's
I think I'm in here. Can you guys, everyone can see me and hear me now?
How's it going, man? Yeah, we can see and
What's
hear.
up, Tom Klein?
Awesome. I am not Tom Klein anymore. I actually, that is my alias actually from CIA. If anyone didn't know that.
Uh-oh. That's something we're not supposed to know about?
Yeah, but it's all right. You guys won't be around to tell the tip tomorrow.
Wait, what? I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Yep. So what's going on? How's everyone doing?
Good. We spent time talking about Bendgate, so we're not talking about it anymore, so don't ask.
I wasn't gonna ask. I mean, I don't wear those types of pants where phones would bend in my pocket, so.
You're calling Mike out. That's the pants.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, you know what though? I'll be the first to admit, fat guys don't wear tight. Don't wear skinny jeans. It
just reminds me. Whenever people mention those skinny jeans, it just reminds me of Nacho Libre when he's like, "When you're older, you're going to want to wear stretchy pants."
That's on Amazon Prime, by the way, if you guys want to watch it.
Oh, that's a great film. Must view if you haven't seen it.
I'm sorry to do this. I have to do this. I have a video of Marco.
Oh God, is this the same video that you had in the vlog?
No, I didn't.
You know what? It's funny. I have that picture of me actually. I have that picture of me saved on my iPhone here.
Oh, you actually saved it?
What was up with the constant zooming in towards my? I didn't get that. What was that?
It was just you were smiling, but that's not even what I was talking about.
The eyebrow wasn't raised.
I know that was as close as I could get it to being raised, but your smile and you were like, I was trying to do a like a twinkle, be like bling. But I just got frustrated trying to find something. But no, this is time capture or time lapse. I took Marco eating an ice cream cone.
Oh great! Oh yes. I have not seen it.
But here, let me share my screen, because it's only 9 seconds, because it got awkward standing there looking at him as he was eating, because he was like, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, "I'm doing time lapse. Don't move. Just eat the ice cream cone."
That was a good ice cream cone. Just saying.
It was Mike's ice cream. That was some good stuff right there. All right, so here it is. This is where I started.
Oh, epic right here.
It's only 9 seconds. So there he is eating ice cream. So it's only 9 seconds. But it was pretty funny. That's it. It was just 9 seconds. It took me like 10 minutes to do that. It was like 10 minutes.
That's ridiculous.
He's like, what? Larry putting the phone in front of me. He's like, what the hell are you doing? I said, I'm doing time lapse of you eating the ice cream cone. He goes, no, don't do that. And then there's this, which I did. We recorded this. How long did we record this? This had to be a half an hour. I did this because there's the guys. We walked all the way down the strip, and we went to the Hard Rock, and then we walked all the way across, and then we walked underneath that bridge, walked up to the bridge, and then I walked up to the end there, and then did the cars leaving on the bridge. That was 23 seconds of footage that took.
Well, yeah, the funny thing is, like, the longer you record it, the faster the speed Apple plays it. So it doesn't really, like, yeah, 23 seconds is probably around, like, you know, again, yeah, like 20 minutes.
Yeah. Now,
did you use your 5S to film that, or did you already have your 6?
I used the 6 for that.
Okay.
And the thing is, I'm going to do a video between that and hyperlapse. I think hyperlapse is so much better than what's on the iPhone because you actually have a choice of picking.
Agreed. The speed.
2 times, 4 times, 8 times, 10 times, 12 times the speed, and I think it looks so much nicer if you just slow it down just a little bit to be able to do that. So, but yeah, I just wanted to show Marco eating the ice cream cone just because I thought that was fun.
Speaking of, I really dug your guys' the pro consumer video. That intro and outro was.
You should have listened to the whole thing. Oh my god!
Should put some more outtakes on that thing.
Honestly, I have about 65 or 70 minutes of video of just Danny and I sitting in that room. And what's even more funny was Dom was actually like 9 feet away editing a video, and he was like talking like a producer. So whenever we make a joke, Dom would throw in and pitch in, and yeah, it was just a blast to shoot that video, and a lot of fun.
You know what? Shame on us for not recording more while we were all hanging out because there was a lot of that.
Yeah.
There was a whole lot of Danny just being like, "Oh, Samsung Galaxy X5."
So we have a brilliant idea for Danny. We're gonna make a J.K. Chen review channel on YouTube.
No.
That's all he's gonna do is my legacy on YouTube is to show you when he said the iPhone, what did he the Plus.
The iPhone 6 Plus.
6 Plus. And he just lost it. That was just absolutely amazing. I always thought that was the funniest thing. And if you saw my comment, I'm like, his legacy.
No, Danny's legacy is absolutely untouchable there.
People are gonna.
Oh my god, we had that whole video. It was just the whole weekend was, you know, when we're talking about some kind of Samsung product, like Danny's favorite product right now is the Galaxy Note 4. It's like the Galaxy Note 4 is the most powerful device, and like, you know how, like, cause it's so true that this is how they present their products. Like, has the most powerful quad-core processor. Like, it goes super. We do super extreme, and it's not, you know, it's not to become racist or anything, but like the way they present their products, just they put so much, like, because they don't have L's in their language. Like, L's are just non-existent there. Yeah. So any L is replaced with an R.
Well, that's why I said, I was like, just do it in your native tongue and then just give me some subtitles underneath, and just because it just sounds like he's struggling, you know, to emphasize the important things. And he's like, the quad-core processor, and I'm like, oh, this poor guy. Just seriously, I can listen to a translator. You know, yes, you know, we're from America, but you know what? We don't want to be those guys. We can definitely listen in a different language. Sorry. I'll open up another beer.
Well, how many numbers is that, Mike?
This is only 2,
right?
I was milking the other one. I didn't.
Man.
You're dead. See you, Larry. Larry and I didn't get along so well now that he's not in the room anymore. It was very awkward. No, I'm just
What happened with you and Larry?
No, I'm kidding. Actually, I kind of missed my daughter and my wife, so I instead of going to bed the night we came back from hanging out at in Nashville, I left. I packed up. I showed him a few things for editing on his computer and whatnot. We talked a little bit, and I rolled probably around 1:30 in the morning, and I drove for about 2.5, 3 hours before, like literally when I was driving, I was like this, you know, and I was nodding.
Yeah.
Like, I got it, because I was doing like 70, and I'm like, I gotta pull over and sleep for a few hours. So I'm looking, and I finally find this place, and I pull over, and I back up next to the building, and I fall asleep. I go out at 5 o'clock in the morning. Actually, a quarter of 5 in the morning. There's a tap on the glass on my window, and I had my sunglasses on because there was night lights, the street lights, so I could block out the light a little bit. And I had my radio playing on my phone because I turned the car off. And I waking up and I look over to my left, and it's a police officer.
Oh God.
And I'm like, I've got my keys out of my ignition, and I've got them sitting on the seat, and I'm like, and I can't put my window down, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, and I go to grab my keys, and he goes, ding, 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 and he goes, what are you doing? I'm like, electric windows, keys aren't in, and he goes, oh, just open the door. So I open the door, and I'm like, my hands are right here, and he's like, no, I just need to make sure you weren't passed out. And I said, no. I said I was driving for a few hours, and I started dozing off, so I figured I better pull over and lay down and take a nap. And he goes, oh, yeah, absolutely. He goes, no problem, man. He's like, I just wanted to make sure everything was okay. Go back to sleep. And he leaves.
Was this still in Tennessee?
This is still in Tennessee.
Yeah.
So I was like, he was a real nice guy. He was the sheriff, actually, I think. It said on his badge in his car. He was the sheriff,
Sheriff of East Tennessee.
Yeah, and I saw him pull out, and he goes up. There's like a church on the hill across the street, and he like pulls out behind there, and he sits behind the building, and I can see him, and he turned his lights off, and he sat there. So I don't know if that was his place to hang out, or he was like, okay, let's make sure this guy's not doing anything wrong.
That's his sleep spot.
So I'm just gonna So I'm just gonna keep an eye on him. But I fell asleep for like another half hour or so. By the time I woke up, he was gone. So off I went. So that was my oddball story of the trip when I woke up to tapping on the glass.
I just got a pretty funny picture from one of my Twitter followers. Yeah, let me pull this up. That was pretty hilarious. I laughed.
What the heck? He's watching you on the HTC with his red strawberry ale. Nobody drinks red strawberry ale except Doug.
I drink them. I got some in the fridge right now.
That's some girly beer, man. No, I'm just kidding.
I love it.
Don't hate. I like fruity beers, especially like the apple
Smirnoffs and stuff. Marco,
well,
you and I, man, right here.
I like apple ciders.
Did you see
like Red's apple?
Did you see what Andrew Jackson posted on? There it is.
You have to talk, Quinn, so everybody can see it.
There you go.
Oh yeah, just go ahead and click on your box, Quinn, so it stays there.
I think I did. Yeah,
That is hilarious.
There we go.
my box is white.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty good. I would have changed the spelling on the iPhone. I guess.
Oh yeah, that kills me. No.
I heard that too.
It's bad. It's bad.
It's an iPhone.
Okay. Let me just throw this one thing about the iPhone 6 Bendgate whatever stuff. Like, I mean, honestly.
None of us have a problem here with Lou, Marco. So stop.
Oh, I'm not saying I have a problem with it, but I'm just saying like I could bend a lot of phones. I mean, it's not only limited to the iPhone 6 and the iPhone 6 Plus.
But did you think of that beforehand? If you would have filmed it, yours would have blown up too.
No, it wouldn't have.
Yeah, right. No. Like, but again, I mean, I'm not saying that the whole Bendgate thing is terrible. I mean, like, I think the most amount of criticism that I can give Apple right now is only reporting 9 people in total.
Yeah, agreed. That was the biggest move of the whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
we all agreed.
Did they miss a few zeros there? Honestly, 9 is not. I think I've seen more of a 9 in maybe 10 seconds of Twitter than yeah. But that's really incredibly ignorant that Apple did that, or even made that public that only 9 iPhones have been invented.
That was a terrible PR move. They should have just said, in proportion to the millions of phones that sold, it is a very, very, very minute portion. They shouldn't have said 9 because that just makes them look like stupid liars.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, I would like to see how they got this information. 9 that actually came and reported it to the Apple Store. Is that like how they're reporting this information, or somehow they have some kind of bend sensors already pre-installed in every iPhone 6 that measures when your iPhone gets bent, because we knew it was going to be a problem. So
it's right alongside the little piece of hardware that tells Apple if you have cellular service or not. They also reported 40,000 people that had iOS 8.0.1 problems, and I don't know how they got that number either. I'm sure it's, close to accurate, but I don't know where they fished that out of.
Did they report a number? Did they report a number for AntennaGate?
Yeah. Oh, for AntennaGate, no.
Remember, no, that's because Steve was still in charge. He's like, you're holding it wrong, Jack.
You are holding it wrong.
Well, I mean, like, honestly, if I was Tim Cook right now, I'm saying, like, who in the hell bends their phone? Like, who purposely bends their phone with their hands?
If I was Tim,
other than YouTube.
If I was Tim Cook, I would have called up Lou and been like, man, Lou, what do I got to do, buddy? No, I mean, yeah, I just think I thought it was funny.
Well, okay. Think about this. If this was the same case as, say, the Samsung Galaxy Note 4.
Oh, no one would have cared.
No one would care because...
No.
And honestly, I think the Galaxy Note 4 could possibly have the same thing because the outside is made out of aluminum and the inside is made out of plastic.
They better hope not after all of Samsung's anti-bend marketing.
Well, I mean, you know what? I think that's the first video I'm going to do when I get the Galaxy Note 4. Will it bend?
And then just look at it. Look at it. Well, I don't really know.
Well, Marco makes a good point because it's true that since the iPhone 4, since AntennaGate, people have intentionally tried to find defects or problems with each iPhone. Because that's what people do. They know that it's Apple. They know that there will be some type of imperfection, and Apple stuff gets pressed like nobody else. And that's why Bloomberg has been going on for 3 days about the iPhone Bendgate problem. Not probably because they think it's a big deal, but because people are eating it up. That's money in their pocket. So
the thing is, Lou said he didn't do this because he thought, oh yeah, this is going to be popular. He did it because he got so many people saying, look what happened. Look what happened. Look what happened. And I'm sure his mindset, and I'd love to get him on our podcast. I tried to get him on the other day, but he's too busy with all this stuff. I'd love to get his mindset on what like he was like, this isn't gonna bend. You know what I mean? Like, did he originally think this won't bend? I can't bend this. You know what I mean? To holy crap, I bent it.
I don't know. It's funny. And, well, I mean, I don't think that, not to undermine Lou, but I don't think he's some sort of mastermind genius that knew this thing was going to go viral.
He is pretty smart, though.
He is pretty smart. But as he said, he said, I had heard some people saying bend, whatever, and he said when my cousin or my brother, I don't remember who it was, he says when he told me that his was bent, that's when I decided, no, I really got to see if this is true or not.
Right.
And so that's why I think, and to his credit, kudos for doing such a good job and for going viral.
Yeah. Well, he certainly did put work into the video. I mean.
Oh, for sure. No, I don't think he just.
Like if I'd have done it, it'd have gotten like 500 views and 500 comments saying.
I don't think so.
I don't know. That's what makes me think that it's such a, it has evolved to be such a big thing, is because it was already someone who had a really large following. I mean, when you have that many people, when I say something stupid, there's like a couple hundred people that say you're an idiot, but that's it, And whereas, Lou and Marquez has to be incredibly careful with anything he says, because if he says something dumb, he's going to get called out by 1.5 million people.
Right, and so that's why I think.
Yeah.
Lou was calculated with this to an extent.
Yeah, and he did it, and he said, wow, that was pretty, crazy that it actually happened. And I think he, wanted to get it out and share with people, probably not realizing, or maybe he did, but, you can't just share something with a couple of people when you have 1.5 million viewers. I mean, he knew that whatever he said was going to be big, but it was a big enough of a problem in his eyes that, he said, well, I'm going to say it, and I think it blew up way further than he ever expected it to. But
yeah, and of course there's people that are like, who's this idiot? Who's this guy? Who's this YouTuber, quote-unquote professional? When in actuality, it really is...
Engineer from California.
Oh, that was hilarious. Engineer from San Francisco.
All I saw was negative comments on him, like, oh, who is this idiot? I was like...
Yeah, and it's just like, you know what? You sit there and call him an idiot because you didn't do it. You know what I mean? And that's what I think a majority of the people who are uneducated about the whole situation is... the fact that this is a guy that that to this this viewing audience that is currently seeing it has no idea who he is or what he's done. You know, and he's done a lot, and you know, he's put his heart and soul into doing this, and I think you know, I think, you know, it's just the typical response from people who are like, why did this idiot bend the phone? Why did okay, you know, he didn't do it just to bend it. You know, all you're seeing is his hands in these videos, and then the phone bent. You know, you're not even really getting.
To put this into perspective of how big a deal it became, that video has 4 times as many views as MKBHD's iPhone 6 glass video that he did. That was all over the news around the whole world.
Yep.
That has 7 million views, and Luz has 29 million.
He has 5 times the amount of views on that one video than I have over my entire YouTube career in views.
Yeah, he surpassed me by 4 million. Yesterday he was at 20 million. I'm like, all right, I'm still hanging in there. I'm still there. No.
It kind of hurts though. Like when you look at it, you go,
You're like one video.
he
got more views in a minute on his video than I have on my channel. So don't even start, guys. Don't even start.
Hey, you know, at the end of the day, it's someone that I think can handle it better than I certainly be able to. I'd be like, look at me, I'm king. You know, I'd be all over the place running my stupid mouth and saying something wrong.
Pissing everybody off.
Exactly. So here's this jerk. I'd be like, look at me drinking my beer while I'm on. I want to be. Why am I not on the Daily Show yet? I want to talk to Jon Stewart now. You know? All right, someone else talk. I'm sounding bad over
here. Any other topics that?
Nobody's asking any questions.
Yeah, the number of people watching is swindling by the minute.
That's because I was talking.
It's almost like we're not talking about anything important now.
Well, you know, hey, okay, fine. Got a question. Even the Note 4 Edge could bend. No, it's already bent. So what?
That wasn't a good. That's not a good one right there.
No, actually, I think that will be to the advantage of the phone. Because glass is remarkably rigid, and so due to the fact that there's already glass bent along one side of the phone, I think it'll probably be really resilient.
I don't think it'll bend.
Well, I don't think it'll make it. I don't think it'll make a difference though, because the whole phone's still built out of aluminum and magnesium inside. So
That's true.
Yeah.
It's all relative too. It's not even if you were to give that to some, that guy from. One of those world's strongest guys, they would bend the iPhone and the Note Edge, and they would break them. And I have no doubt in my mind that I could go up to an iPhone 6 Plus and bend it. I could bend it.
I'm probably incapable of bending either.
I want to see. You guys all know Michael Manna from the T4 show. You know Michael.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him bend a few phones because he's freaking jacked. He could probably put 3 iPhones together and bend them.
I'm going to go to the Apple store and have my wife film me, and I'll bend one of their displays.
That would be viral. Hey, psst, check it out. Run!
No, and then I'll just stand there and be like, I wanted to make sure this didn't bend.
Before I bought it. And it bent, so I refuse to buy this crap.
Somebody wants to know thoughts on Apple Watch. I'm not looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I honestly like it. I just don't know how I'll like it until I use it. I mean, Mike and I already talked about this. I really can't judge this. I don't think anyone has the right to judge an Apple Watch until they practically put it on their wrist and use it for a good while.
Yeah, no, I agree. I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I think what makes me most skeptical is the fact that Apple is intending, at least from what I can see, for it to be a primary input device. And the reason I think Android Wear works so well is it's not meant to be your primary interface. Yeah, you get your text messages, you can quick reply when necessary, but it's not designed to replace your phone. It's like a companion. Whereas the Apple Watch, right. I mean, they're displaying the photos out. I'm not going to show anyone photos on my wrist, and I'm sure as heck not going to use the crown to scroll through. I'm going to pull out my 5-inch phone and look at them, So that's what makes me skeptical is they're trying so hard to make it a primary input device that I think you're, almost it's almost dangerous. I don't know.
I think
Yeah, I'm going to place my fear of price and upgradability before that first, because
That's true.
yeah, depending on how much this thing is going to cost, starting at $349, probably going up into honestly, I think over the grand mark for the 18 karat gold one. How many times are we going to upgrade that thing? Are we going to upgrade it every year? I'm not going to spend $1,000 every year for a watch.
Yeah.
If I spend upwards of $1,000 or more on a watch, I'm expecting to own that watch for a few years.
Exactly.
The resale value is darn good, because watches really don't lose value as long as you take care of them. But an Apple Watch with a tiny single core processor, it's going to be out of date, and it's going to be out of date in no time.
Yeah,
well, and then in addition to that, I think the battery life is a huge issue with smartwatches in general. People
don't worry,
want
the Apple
to put
Watch
a smartwatch
Plus
on
is
there.
coming. The Apple Watch.
I mean, you want to put a watch on your wrist and not really necessarily think about it in terms of how long will this stay alive. Watches in the mind's eye is something you put on your wrist to, I don't know, navigate through your day in time and dates, and without worrying about having to charge it up.
That's true. Although I do think that, our perspectives of what things are and how they have been and how they should be, those obviously change over time.
For sure.
When the iPhone came out, people were like, that's not a smartphone. That's not a BlackBerry. That doesn't do it. And now we look back at the BlackBerries, we're like, wait, I don't know how we ever thought that those were smartphones. And it may be the same for watches. I mean, we look at phones now, and even 4 years ago, people bought an iPhone 3G and they stuck with it till the iPhone 5 came out. And now more and more people are trying to upgrade every year to a new phone. And maybe with watches it will take the same trend. I tend to think that it's less likely, and I know that I won't want to buy a watch every year.
I think it's less likely as well, because timepieces have been around since the early, I don't even know, I'm sure
1700s, really.
That's just it. That's just it.
Military movements and driving your compasses and mapping out maps and all types of stuff. I mean,
but these devices are Swiss engineered precision gear.
I'm sorry, they are not. I mean, it looks like a Swiss engineered watch. It's made in China. The parts are not very good.
But I'm not talking about these. I'm not talking about the Apple Watch. I'm talking about.
I don't think it's gonna have the same level of luxury as a Swiss watch.
No, but that's just it. You buy a Swiss watch, 10 years from now, you go, that's a nice watch. The Apple Watch, 5 years after it, 2 years after it comes out, people are gonna go, you're still wearing that thing?
A day after that thing, it's going to be rendered too thick, because it's thicker than the Moto. It's thicker than the 360.
That's just it. I don't think the sustainability is there for the money that you're going to drop on it.
I agree, and that's what most worries me, because again, I would much rather myself, I miss my Gear Live like crazy, by the way. I mean, I keep looking at my
What? You miss a
wrist
Samsung product? What?
Gear Life.
Yeah, I know. Since I moved over to the iPhone, I'm like, man, I miss my watch. And granted, I didn't try the Moto 360. I'm sure I would have been in love with that. But that's one of the things I most miss about Android. Yeah, well, I just hadn't tried it, so that's why I like the Gear Live so much. I'm sure if I tried this 360, I'd be like, yeah, get rid of this.
Well, yeah, no,
garbage.
Marco, where is your 360?
It's on my desk. I haven't touched it since you came. I haven't touched it since I had my iPhone, because what the hell am I going to do with a watch that doesn't give me notifications? So
I think you would wear it.
Again, maybe I think about wearables in a different aspect. I think I brought this up once in a hangout that I think of a wearable as a timepiece where you're syncing a unit of individuals, like a unit of men. Like I used to wear a watch because I couldn't carry my phone, and in that aspect, I'm jumping in mud and I'm swimming in water. I'm not thinking about that type of thing, and I'm doing that for months at a time. I'm in the field, constantly. I don't have access to an outlet. Maybe I'm just thinking about that type of wearable tech. When I put a watch on my hand, I want it to just function, and I don't need to worry about it. I need to be synced to the time of the day, and that's basically it. And maybe the date.
What's kind of funny? Go ahead, Quinn.
No, you go ahead, Marco. You're good.
It's kind of funny. It's like the most practical watch is probably the most stupid watch that's around, which is the Gear S. It's funny because we all make fun of it. I mean, I made fun of it because it looks like a I don't even know. It's huge. Like, it's a freaking big watch. And but that is the only practical sole watch you can buy because it has its own data connection. It has everything built in, a little phone dialer application, a calculator, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but it still has to be charged every 8 hours.
And it runs Tizen.
Yeah, that's the biggest problem. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see. When they started to come out, I was highly skeptical that even the Android ones were going to sell well, and then I got my Gear Live, and I ended up liking it a lot more than I had expected. But to the day that the conference happened, and people are giving me crap about it still, to the day that the keynote happened, I said, if they're releasing a watch, it's not just the watch. There's going to be more to it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just the watch. And so I left thinking like, wow. And unlike how it usually is with Apple, I'm the biggest Apple fanboy that ever existed. I usually leave those keynotes thinking, oh man, that's totally changed everything. But I left this thinking, I don't know. I don't think I want one. And that's kind of
That's
the problem.
bad.
I
That's
was
the
like,
same thing. Cause
I'd rather spend $650 on a beautiful Citizen Eco Drive than an Apple Watch. I don't know.
Because it'll work in 10 years.
Or
Won't be outdated.
here's a concept, or $25.99 on a freaking Timex that you can basically run over your wrist in and it'll still function.
You are correct, sir.
I can't be seen wearing a Timex, man. I have too much like watch love to buy one of those things.
I almost picked up a Fossil while we were while I was out there, Marco. I found one at the Fossil store.
Oh my God.
We drove down to Alabama. So
What the heck?
state I was in while I was down there. It was only an hour drive to go to this to go wherever we were.
Why would you go to that state?
Huh?
Why would you ever go into that state?
I don't know. I wasn't driving.
Why would Larry go to that? He's from
Because he
Detroit.
wanted to go to the other Apple store to see if they had the phones.
Is that what you guys did? Oh, because I saw you guys texting Danny. I'm like, you guys wasted a whole trip going down to. I thought you guys were going to a Verizon store in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, what the heck? There's a Verizon store an hour away from Tullahoma.
No. Well, we actually, and that's where I got my slow-mo footage for the fountains when I decided to walk through the fountains. And I got several comments from people saying that I was an idiot.
In Alabama?
Yeah.
I'm surprised you weren't shot.
Why?
It's Alabama, man. It's not that kind of state where you can just like walk your way in there.
Taliban.
No, this was at the mall. You clearly didn't watch my video. I'm sad.
I did clearly. I did.
I thought Marco said it was the Taliban. He said it's Alabama. It sounded like the Taliban.
But anyway, regardless,
it is the Taliban in the South. By the way.
Getting me off the topic here. I walked into the Fossil store and I found this like army-looking black, just like it had everything on it. It was this, just looked gorgeous. It was nice and bulky and a big giant watch. It was only $140, and I'm like, no, I won't do it. So I didn't pull the trigger.
Well, I mean, I've defaulted to the Timex because I spent a little bit of money on something that I worn in the field, and I come back with a scratched face. I mean, I learned my lesson. I'm going to buy a Timex, and I'll run this thing till it's done, and then I'll get another one.
I don't think I've ever had that problem. I'm pretty good at removing scratches from Sapphire. After owning these watches for a long time, you kind of get some. Yeah, I can do those little yearly touch-ups on there, make it look brand new.
There you go. I have friends that use phones that way, Tomas. They get the real crappy phones and they use them till they die. I don't need a smartphone. I have friends like that.
I was that,
Yeah, they're called the elderly, I think.
No. I'm pretty dinosauric. I was that way. I was totally. I bought phones and I was like, I don't need no freaking smartphone. And then my first smartphone was the HTC G2, and I was just floored with that thing. I was like, man, what an idiot! I've been missing out on this thing.
That was a great phone, by the way. It was a great phone.
With the flip-up keyboard.
Oh, yeah.
I came into tech late, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm still coming into life late, so it doesn't matter. I have friends that look like they're about 60 years old, and they're like, "Oh, I had about 13 jobs in the last 10 years." I'm like, "I've had 2," and I'm like, "I haven't lived life." It's just, I'm a very boring person.
No, you're not, Mike.
I didn't leave the state of Pennsylvania till well, let me take that back. I didn't go any further south than Virginia, any further east than Jersey, any further north than New York, and any further west than Harrisburg until I was 18 years old.
Wow.
That's pathetic. I didn't leave the country until I got married.
I think by 2 years, by the time I was 2 years old, I probably already crossed the planet about 3 times.
Exactly. 24 is the first time I left the country. I went to
go?
For my
Who are you asking, Mike or me?
Both of you.
What's this? What'd you say?
Both of you.
What's
Where'd
that?
you go? Where was your first time? Where'd you leave?
Jamaica.
Girls?
Yeah, what?
My honeymoon.
His eyes were like this the whole trip.
Mike, do you want to talk to him about the Apple Store encounter there?
What's this?
Get out of the way, Marco. Get out of the way. I'm like, what? Did anyone notice that in the video in his vlog?
Wait, what did I say?
Get out of the way, Marco.
I thought he was talking about the food and bananas.
The woman carrying out the food and the bananas.
Yeah, carrying the food. I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Get out of the way, Marco. It's all food.
Yeah, everybody skipped us, apparently.
And then they went the other way, and then you guys went down the stairs and took the food anyway, and didn't get us any.
Well, I mean, you guys didn't ask for anything. I mean, I was getting food from, I've been up for 8 hours because for no reason too, because Dom wanted to be there early, and we had our phones pre-ordered, so it didn't make a dang difference on what time we got there.
That's okay. I edited that video and edited out all the curse words and everything that we were doing the whole week.
Oh God, the ending, the last 3 minutes of that video is like
just bleep, bleep.
Well, for shits and giggles, I did a whole bunch more things that unnecessary beeps.
I'm like, did we really swear that much? I don't think we did.
We most of them were. I cut out a ton that weren't because I thought it was funny. And I'm like, I'm the only one that's going to think this is funny. So I deleted probably 80% of what I did.
Oh, that's lame. I would have laughed.
Oh, some people would have. But, there was one where Danny was talking, and I beeped like, it was like, yeah, we'll talk about beep, and then beep, 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 beep. It came out perfect. And I was just like, I should leave this in here.
My favorite part about was when Dom was like asking you, "Could you please not move the table?" I was like, "No."
And Larry gets up and he goes, "Just don't effing move." That was real.
That sounds ridiculous. Hey Quinn, how'd you come upon your phone? I saw you tweeting and then I kind of lost track of the feed.
Oh, on what?
On September 19th.
Oh, the worst day of my whole life. Hold on, let's see. As many of you know, I was up as everyone trying to get this stupid pre-order thing out of the way. I gave a word of advice to all my Twitter followers and said, be careful, don't order through your carriers because usually they don't ship for the 19th. They have a very limited supply. And I was trying to get the Plus, and I was freaking out. I had already gotten the 6 for my mom, and I was trying to get 3 other phones on our family plan. And I was like, man, this is just not working. And I was like, you can't buy unlocked. You can't do anything. And so I was refreshing, not available, not available. Gold, not available. I was like, I didn't even care. I was ready for the 16 gig gold, man. I just needed a Plus, and nothing. And I was like, all right, to heck with this. I'm just going to AT&T. And despite my better judgment and my own advice, I went to AT&T. I ordered the phone. And the second I hit like the place order button, the page closed. I was like, what the heck? And like it 404'd. So then I was opening my bank account to make sure they didn't charge me and that order didn't go through and all that stuff. And then I realized they didn't charge you to the pre-order anyway. So I tried to go back into the page and order again. And then when I clicked place order, the order went through and it's like ships in 11 to 14 days. I'm like, no. And I was like, well, maybe they're just joking because they usually give you a couple weeks, of buffer. We'll see. And it was still pretty early. So I was like, I doubt, they're already sold out. I logged onto my AT&T account like 2 days later because I got an update notification, and it said ships from October 17th to October 24th. Oh. I was like, no, you got to be kidding me. And so I stuck around for a couple days. I think it was Tuesday that I finally called AT&T and canceled my order because I was like, I'm just maybe like they were just kidding. It was a mean joke, and they're actually going to ship it the 19th. And that didn't happen, and so I was like, crap. And since I couldn't, order from Apple directly, I also didn't have the option the night that I was trying to go do the in-store pickup. So on Tuesday, I was like, well, maybe I'll just try the in-store pickup. And by that point, they were all gone. So I was like, oh, crap, what am I going to do? And I was like, I need this phone on Friday because I'm going to do a bunch of coverage, which, by the way, I didn't do because I was so tired. I haven't put a single video of the iPhone 6 up. And I had 2 phones that were waiting for me. I didn't do anything. And I was just freaking out, like, oh, how am I going to do this? And I decided Thursday night, I'm like, I'm just going to, go camp out at the Apple store and whatever. And I was planning on, Tomas knows, I was planning on going to a store that's newer in Farmington. I was like, no one knows about that store. It's still new. I'm going to go up there. Everything's going to be good to go. Well, I saw a tweet at like 2 p.m. I was still in class, and they're like, whoa, I already saw a line of like 40 people at the Farmington Apple store. I'm like, oh my God. Well, that's not going to work.
And I still don't believe that.
I can't think so either. I don't know. And so I called around. We have 3 Apple stores in town, and one of them is inside of a shopping mall. So I called and said, when are you guys starting the lineup? And they said, well, mall security is not going to let us line up until 9. And I was like, okay, perfect. I'll just go at 9 at night. I'll sleep overnight. It'll be perfect. I'll get the phone, whatever. I show up at like 8:15. I'm like, I want to be first in line. I'm going to be early. And I go into the Apple store. I'm like, hey, so I'm ready to line up. Where's this going? And she's like, oh, yeah. She's like, well, the lineup was not supposed to start till 9, but apparently people started coming at like 5, and mall security just let them line up. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I went outside. There were 200 people in line, and I was like, no, what am I going to do? And I got in line, and I waited in that line for an hour. And then after that, I'm like, part of me was like, I don't even really care that much. It's just a phone. Like, what am I doing outside? It's cold. It's gonna rain. What am I thinking? I'm like, I don't even care. I'm just leaving. And I stand up, and everyone's like, where you going, man? I'm like, I'm leaving. This sucks. And they're like, oh, you're crazy, man. We're gonna get the iPhone. Yeah. I'm like, no, you're not. You guys are 200 people back in line. You're gonna get the gold iPhone 6. You're high if you think you're getting the Plus, because everyone wanted a Plus. And there were those rumors that there's super limited quantity. So I was like, whatever. I'm just going home. And then as I'm driving home, I was like, well, maybe I'll try the AT&T corporate store. I was convincing myself, I'm like, you don't need it. You don't care. And the whole time I'm like, yes, I do. Yes, I need it. I want it. I'm going to be jealous if everyone has one tomorrow, but I don't. And not to mention the fact that I had just broken my OnePlus One like 4 hours earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's kind of what put the nail in the coffin. Before I was like, I'm not even going to do it. And then once I broke my phone, I'm like, well, I don't have a phone. My HTC One had been sent in for repair. I broke my OnePlus One. I would have had to gone back to like an iPhone 3G. So I was like, no, okay, I'm just going to get one. I went downtown. I went to the AT&T store, and there were like 7 or 8 people in line. And I'm like, you guys are waiting for the iPhone? Yeah. And I said, well, how many did you talk to anyone at the store? How many did they say there were? Because I'm kind of worried that such limited quantities are available that I'm going to wait, 12 hours in vain. They're like, no, they said that, there would be a Plus for everyone here. And the girl's like, yeah, they said there were 6 iPhone 6 Pluses. And I was like, well, I'm 8th in line, so I'm screwed. And they're like, well, pull up a chair, man. Come on. And I was like, whatever. I'm already here. And so I pulled out my chair. And it was quite the night. There was a terrible country dance in a club right next to the Apple store, so I couldn't sleep until like 2:30 a.m. And it started raining pretty hard. I'm glad I didn't stay at the place where I was initially, because I heard that it rained so hard. It was actually on the news. It had rained so hard that the cones that they had set up for like the queue in the parking lot actually like started sliding away, and people were like jumping up in line because there were no cones. So people were like crawling up to get further in line, and it was just a disaster. And people said like it was raining so hard, some people just got up and left at like 3 in the morning. And luckily that was like just below me. So we got hit by rain, but not bad. It would rain for 10 minutes, and since there are only 8 people in line, I mean, they're not going to be like, well, if you leave, you lose your spot. We were all cool, so I was just like, yeah, I'm going to my car. I'll be back in 2 hours. I'm going to get McDonald's. I'll be back in a bit. So it's like my chair was my spot. And it was good. I didn't sleep at all. I got the phone, and we opened up the store, and I was like, I was 8th in line, and the whole time I was paranoid. I'm like, I'm going to be so pissed if there's not a 6 Plus available. And the store opened, and the guy's like, so sorry guys, we only have 4 iPhone 6 Pluses. And I was like, no. And he's like, just kidding. And I was like, I hate you. Why did you do that? And I walked in. I'm like, how many actually are there? He's like, there's 10. I was like, of each color, of each size? No, there's 10. There's only 10 phones. Yeah, there's 10. I was like, number 8 in line. I'm like, okay, what do you got? He's like, we have the the silver in 128 gigs or the gold in 64. And I didn't want 128, but I sure wasn't going to get gold. So I was like, all right, just give me the silver. I don't care. And I got my phone. I came home. I slept. I planned on doing coverage, and I didn't do anything. And I haven't made a video for a whole week, and I'm behind.
You forgot the part that it didn't work when you took it out of the box.
Yeah, the Touch ID didn't work. It was just a disaster. I was the first one to get screwed over by 8.0.1. I got the new phone today. I got the new phone, the replacement phone. After talking to AppleCare for like 2 hours, I got the new phone, and I had Wi-Fi connectivity problems. Rdio downloaded 5 gigabytes of music over my capped cellular data. It's just been a rough week. It's been bad. But luckily, I think we're in the clear now, finally. What I can't decide is if I want to fix my OnePlus One. I think I still want it.
$200.
Yeah, 201 actually.
201. You know, it's so funny. You were talking about your story and everything. And Marco, I said to Larry maybe like a day or two ago, I said, man, we are freaking morons. He's like, why? I was like, think about it for a second. They had 6 pluses, enough 6 pluses for pretty much everyone in that line. You know, they had enough. All we had to do was leave one, like myself or Larry, in line, and we could have gotten 6 pluses by waiting. Instead, we decided to go, oh, can we switch our order? I'm like, Larry, why didn't you just wait in line and sign up for one? And he's like, I don't know. I didn't think about that. I was like, because there weren't that many people in front of us that weren't already, you know, pre-ordered. There's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 20, 30, maybe 40 people. And this was like their main store. Like, we walked in, and they had stacks of phones. Stacks of phones. And they weren't moving when people were coming in. I mean, there were a ton of people in there working, and those boxes were not dwindling after the pre-orders came through.
Yeah, they had like those ginormous, like the things that you see at Home Depot carrying those bigger
those pallets.
things. Yeah, the pallets. We had pallets of phones in the back room.
Yeah.
On top of the humongous counter in the back with like 4 feet of iPhones from like covering 8 feet of desk.
Yeah.
It was like.
And there was probably only about 30 people there that had pre-orders.
Yeah, everyone of that line, and it spanned the whole length of the whole mall. Got an iPhone of their choosing.
Easily.
Either of a 6 or 6 Plus. So I don't know.
Did you get the Plus, Mike?
I got the 4.7. I just got the 6, which I'm actually happy about. You know, I don't regret getting not getting the Plus. You know, I got to try out. You know, Dom and Marco and Danny had them all, so we checked it out. It was just like Dom had a great analogy. He was like holding this thing. I compare it to like those like jokey sunglasses that are like huge. And you can, they bend all the way in, they go over your ear. He goes, that's how I equate this phone. It's like a joke gift, like those big oversized joke gifts, like the big giant pencils and the big giant crayons. He's like, that's what I equate this thing to. And
it's like a really nice joke. Like, it's a really nicely made joke. That's what it feels like.
Right. Well, everyone that's seen it, I wish I would have done it. I think it would be hilarious. Part of my idea was a lot of people. I mean, they still ask me. They're like, "Is that the 6 or the Plus?" And they're like, "Oh, it's so big." But I was thinking, like, because Mike, the Detroit Bork, has this iPad like prototype, supposedly the next gen one. I was like thinking, what if you degutted like a currently existing iPad and stuck it inside of that casing, and then like etched iPhone Plus on the back and walked around to people at the mall and be like, okay, have you seen the new 6 Plus? No. And give them the 6 Plus. This is the regular iPhone 6, and then give them an iPad mini. This is
TLD that. Do
it. You need
12K display.
You know what? You need to make that happen.
I think that'd be a pretty funny video.
You have to talk to Mike. You got to make that happen.
Because, I mean, you could get away with that here in Utah. People would be like, what?
Dude, that has to happen. You need to get somebody at the camera, and you need to get your official as hell microphone And just put a big fluffy thing on it like John did.
But you know what? I agree with Quinn because like people have asked me if this is the 6. I'm like,
Yeah,
I think Apple should have made the 6 Plus bigger.
Yeah,
Does that
people
sound
never ask
stupid?
me. Yeah, people never say, "Is that the 6 Plus?" They always say, "Is that the 6?" I'm like, "No, this is the Plus." Oh, that's gigantic.
Then it's
They
gigantic.
should have made it like they honestly should have like added some kind of like difference other than it's just a bigger iPhone. Like they should have made it, I don't know, hot pink.
They should have
Something.
completely redesigned it. They should have gotten rid of the button. They just should have gone nuts on that phone.
No, it's not Apple-like.
Looked anything like the iPhone.
I don't know, dude. You know what?
You know what they should have done? They should have made it look exactly like the 5C, only bigger.
They should have made the iPhone 6 Plus
The 6
made
Plus
out of
C.
plastic and like 10 millimeters thick with, just
500 milliamp
with
battery.
a 5.5-inch 640 by 480 display. That's what I want. I want like 100 ppi display.
Could you imagine?
Can we have that again? Can we have 100
They
ppi?
had a 7,000 milliamp battery, and Jonathan's like, "Oh my God, I was right. I was just kidding, but it happened."
The Apple Watch has a 7,000 milliamp hour battery.
Here.
7.
Embedded into the band that goes around. That would be a good idea, actually.
No, they're gonna make a new Apple Hospital where they're gonna surgically attach the Apple Watch and the battery is just gonna go inside of implanted inside of you.
Actually,
Don't go through airport security because there's a danger of that blowing up with you inside of you, and it's not gonna be fun.
I want Google Glass contacts. Then I.
No.
Buy
You know
them.
how much irritation that would give me to anybody, honestly.
What? No, they're contacts. I wear contacts every day.
I know, but how are you gonna have all the diodes inside of your contacts without like poking your eye out?
Eventually,
What if one single wire, just gets displaced outside of that contact and starts poking you straight in the eye?
it's gonna hurt. Jay, trust me. You know what? When you get a little piece of hair on that inside of that lens, and you put that in your eye, it feels like somebody took a knife and stabbed you in the eye, especially when you can't get that son of a bitch out. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, and I'm like, come on, get out, I'm like, just please, and I can't open my eye. And I'm like, yeah, it's getting redder and redder and redder. Oh, it's bad. And I take it out, and it's like this little tiny hair, and I'm like, that was it.
And you get electrocuted with those little cables too. It's just not gonna,
It's
I think
gonna
Google
happen.
Glass as a product should be dead by now.
Don't say it's
why
not
it's
going to
not.
happen, because it's going to
I
happen.
think it's gonna be dead in a few years. Google Glass.
I have to agree. I mean, I really like the idea, but I think it's too weird for people. And like,
I'm sorry.
maybe the watch. At first, I thought, yeah, okay, the watches are like a transition.
But
I
that's
think to
gonna be
prepare for Google Glass. But now I'm like, nah, they're just gonna replace it.
The only product that will survive for the next 10 years is the phone. Like, I mean, and I'm being honest. Like, I think the iPad is on its way out. Like, am I the only one who thinks that? Because I honestly don't use my iPad at all.
Well, I think there's a unique situation to that, Marco. As soon as we as developers and instructional designers, because I am an instructional designer, we figure out how to implement technology better in the classroom, the iPad will survive. But as
a post PC product,
No.
I think that term should be dead for iPad or any tablets, because tablets as an interface is a great thing educationally. It's a great thing reading books. I mean, that is honestly, like, I use my iPad for when I'm in the plane or when I'm reading books about flying. Those are the only two things that I do.
Well, to put that into perspective, iPads have a lot of power in competency-based education and measuring that. So as soon as we figure out how to lasso that power and develop to that, then I think there's going to be benefit, because I think universities in general are also moving towards a competency-based education system. There are going to, in the future, there's going to be job interviews to where you sit down and your credentials on your resume aren't going to cut it. They're going to say, for example, if you're interviewing for a programming job, they're going to pass you a PC and say, okay, demonstrate that you know this knowledge. So
I'll break that PC in front of them. Like, give me a Mac, dang it. Where's command?
Now I wish I would have read the chat. Someone just posted I'm not joking. Cricket will take over the world. They're the Monsanto of mobile service.
Oh, no, Cricket's not too bad around here. I've heard.
I've never used them.
Weren't they bought out by
Me
Sprint?
neither. I think Cricket uses T-Mobile spectrum, don't they?
Did anybody see that DirecTV news today that they bought AT&T or something?
They bought what?
They bought AT&T.
I thought it was the other way around.
Nope. DirecTV bought AT&T.
But didn't AT&T just buy DirecTV just like a few months ago?
No, I remember something stopped that, the FCC, I think.
How the heck can DirecTV afford buying AT&T? DirecTV is nowhere near as big as
Shareholders-
AT&T.
Holy crap!
shareholders give a thumbs up.
$48.5 billion takeover.
Where the heck did DirecTV get that money from?
Why
They're
did I
not
not
as
hear
big as a
about this
company.
until now? That's a pretty big deal.
They stole it.
This stupid Bendgate has been on top of all the important news, man. This is way more important than Bendgate.
No, Bengate's the best thing ever.
It's a bad thing ever. Damn it, Lou!
No, you know what? I'm done with iPhones bending, man. I was done with it the first freaking 10 seconds I watched a video about an iPhone being bent. It's great and all, like, you know, an iPhone can bend. That's great. You know, I can bend paper. I can bend iPhones. I can bend Galaxy Note 4s if I want.
I like the U.S. stock market sinks as Apple drags down tech. Everybody's like, Lou, look what you did.
Well, okay, now that would be pretty cool. If I could make a video that like actually stimulated the market in positive or negative ways, I'd feel pretty good about myself.
I think the iOS.
But I did that. I did that.
I think the iOS 8 update and the way they handled it was a little more influential than Lou putting out a video of bending a phone.
I think Apple losing their touch is also.
Yeah, but you know what?
For the first time ever. For the first time ever
didn't
since
hurt.
what?
This is approaching 150 minutes, gentlemen.
What
I have
Lou
to get off here in a
did
minute.
helped the market,
Yeah, me too.
which was hilarious.
No, yeah, that's true.
All right, I'm sorry. I'll stop.
I think that's actually probably a good place to wrap it up. I gotta go pick someone up from the airport in 6 minutes. Luckily, I'm close. But,
Oh, I was gonna say. how
yeah,
far-
my office is out in the ghetto, so we're good. But yeah, I thank y'all for coming on.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. That was awesome.
No
Of course,
kidding.
thanks for coming
Quinn,
on.
thank
later
you.
on a little Marco and Tomas and Mike. Well,
You've
kind
helped
of thank
grow
you.
my audience a little bit more. I'm on my way up.
I doubt it. You'll probably have like a grand total of 2 subscribers more. But at least we had a good time.
No,
Yeah,
it's driving up.
Thank you so much for having me. That was cool.
Yeah, thanks, Quinn, and thanks for
Thanks for coming in, guys.
the chat there, Marco. Good to see you again.
Yeah,
Good to see you as well. No
Yeah.
problem.
And thanks to all you in the chat and those who are those foolish ones who have endured 150 minutes of post live. I don't know. No one's gonna make it to the end of this thing if they're not watching it live. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and as always, stay snazzy.